All right. Good morning, everybody. Today's date is May 25th, 2022. This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority being conducted in New York City with video conferencing to Albany and Buffalo. Present today are Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Fan, and Commissioner Ford. Staff in attendance, we have General Counsel Meyerhoff remotely via WebEx. Counselor, can you just give us a heads up?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Donahue and myself, Secretary Roper. This meeting is also being live streamed on the Authority's YouTube channel. Next meeting dates are June 8th and June 22nd. While in the meeting room, please silence your mobile phones and take any phone calls or conversations outside. Please no food or drinks in the room. Also, public restrooms are located on the second floor. So if you need to go to the restroom, go to the second floor. Items will be called in the order they are signed in, first in Buffalo, then Albany, and then in New York City. When your item is called, please walk up to the podium and introduce yourselves. Representatives, please introduce your clients. Tom, I believe you have.
Yeah, I have just a few announcements from the Licensing Bureau. First, many of you may know that the email notification process is now back available to send your 30-day notices to the community board or your municipality. Just a couple of reminders, all right? It has to be a municipality or community board that has agreed to accept email notification. And the proof of the notice has to be an email from the community board or the municipality to the authority, not the applicant sending a receipt or a copy of the email they sent to the community board. We need to hear from the community board or the municipality. We will accept that. There's actually two parts to the new law. One is that we receive something in general from the community board or the municipality saying they will accept email notifications, and then the individual email for your application. We're going to accept that second email from them as proof that they're accepting email notifications, all right? So don't worry about whether or not we have something on file. If the community board is telling you they'll accept them, that's fine, and then they have to send it to us. For those of you who are still using the overnight mail with the return receipt, we've seen some problems with the lockbox, the bank in Philadelphia. When all you do is send the green card, it doesn't always get scanned. So you may be getting deficiency letters saying we never got your green card. What I suggest you do is take the green card, put it on or in your copier or on a piece of letter-sized paper, copy it, and send that copy to us. All right, so that will scan in through at the bank. It was discussed briefly at the last board meeting, but any of you who have applications or clients where you're buying a package store and then immediately going to move it someplace else with no intention of opening up at the first location, going forward, you just file one application, a new package store application. Don't file a transfer application unless you intend to get a license at the first location. Newspaper affidavits. It's come to my attention that the Licensing Bureau hasn't always been particularly concerned about the content of the newspaper affidavit. There is language in the law what has to be in that. You need to follow that. So for example, you just can't say, I'm going to have an on-premises establishment. You have to say if it's a restaurant or a tavern or whatever. The one thing we are waiving, and I anticipate we'll have an advisory about this in the next board meeting or two, is that it's actually not practical for you to send out the notice within the time frame in the statute. The time frame says within 10 days, but the publication has to include your serial number. You're not going to have your serial number within 10 days. So we're not going to insist on the publication being done within 10 days of the application being filed. I know there are a lot of attorneys and representatives who wait until they actually get the conditional approval before they do the newspaper affidavit. If you do that, don't ask for a 20-day letter to operate while you're waiting for the affidavit to come back. You're not going to get it. Last, for those of you who represent applicants in 500-foot applications, don't bother sending the public interest questionnaire in with your application. It's not going to get to the ALJ. All right? When you get the hearing notice, it tells you where to send that document. All right? That's when you send it in. If you send it in advance, it's not going to get to the ALJ. All right? That's all I had, Chairman.
Chairman, do you have any other announcements?
No, I don't.
All right. Nicole, I believe we still don't have anyone in Buffalo. Is that correct?
That is correct. There are no attendees today.
Okay. If you could just leave that up for about 30 minutes just in case. Moving on to Albany, we have 836 CLANCYS of Saratoga, Inc.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Jim Lenan. I'm attorney for CLANCYS of Saratoga, Inc. and the Clancy family. And we are here today having proffered to the board a no contest plea relative to the pleadings that are now pending.
Please introduce who's here.
Mr. Thomas Clancy Jr., one of the two licensees, he's a licensee together with his wife, is here present with me. And his son, Griffin Clancy, who works in the establishment, is also present and will be here to answer questions for members of the board should you have any at the conclusion of my brief remarks.
Counselor, before you get going, I just want to make clear here, because I read your letter, I actually read it twice. This isn't a forum for you to argue about the evidence. And your letter mostly argues about the evidence. So if you're going to go down that road, we don't need to waste your time or our time. But you're welcome to. Okay.
My apology. I understand that, and it is not my intent to rehash. It has been my experience for many years that the board's members do read the information, and it's not my intent to rehash. And I know this is not an evidentiary hearing. However, in the matter of mitigation relative to the enforcement that we've asked the board to consider, I felt that shedding some light on the fact that the two alleged stabbing incidents had nothing to do with the licensee or his premises was certainly matters for the mitigation of what the board may do.
That's the point I'm trying to get at. If that's your argument, the charges that are filed indicate that our prosecutor's office believed they did have something to do with the licensed premise. If you want to go down that road, you certainly are welcome to do that, but it has to be done in a hearing.
I understand that. Well, I would respectfully suggest that your prosecutor had talked to a police officer, and we were ready to go to a hearing, and we had asked for a hearing, but that the video that the city of Saratoga provided to me and to your prosecutor and is available is the video, and the video is kind of irrefutable as to who was involved in the two stabbing incidents.
Can I interrupt for a second? This is Gary. I'm sorry I'm not present, but I have to say, and this is not just for you, Mr. Lenan, it's for other people who attempt to do the same thing. You could have gone to hearing and challenged the charges. Could have challenged the video, could have had the charges found to be not sustainable. By pleading no contest, you're not contesting that the charges and the evidence supporting them are what they are. And by making an argument about the evidence, really all you're doing is trying to create a little mini trial about what the evidence did or did not say. But the problem with this mini trial is, first of all, it's not in front of an administrative law judge. And second, you're not under oath. And I don't really think it's relevant what you think about what the video says. So we have two choices here. We could have our little mini trial in front of the board, and we could respond to your letter, and every detail you put in there, we have a response to. Or we could do what you did and accept your client's no contest plea. And by no contest, that means you're not contesting. You're not contesting the charges or the evidence. And then we can go to the disciplinary phase. But you can't have it both ways. And I've seen this increasingly happening in cases where licensees recognize that if they went to hearing, they would likely lose. They would lose in front of the ALJ. So instead of having a egregious set of findings by an ALJ on the true evidence, cross-examined and the like, after a trial-like hearing, they do what you're doing, which is to come into the meeting and try to cut at the evidence, even after admitting that you're not challenging the charges. And I don't think that's appropriate.
Well, if I may, Mr. Meyerhoff, just relative to your comments, this is why for many, many, many years now, I have asked repeatedly if a licensee who has more than one charge pending could enter a plea of no contest to a charge and still contest another charge. And in the past, I have been told that if I wish to do that, I must have a hearing on all the charges. And then when I get to the hearing, the ALJ says, well, what about this charge? I say, well, we were prepared to plead no contest to that charge, but to this other charge, we do have a defense, but your rules prohibit a licensee from exercising that option. And so I believe more and more attorneys may be doing what I'm doing because we don't have an alternative. Yes.
Mr. Linan?
Yes.
Mr. Linan, I've been going to full board meetings for a long time, okay?
Oh, I know.
And before that, I was prosecuting cases, all right? So I really don't know what you're talking about because licensees routinely go to a hearing, and counsel, I didn't mean to, Counsel Meyerhoff, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but, licensees go to hearings, they acknowledge they're not contesting some charges and going to hearings on other charges. That's been going on for years. And as counsel pointed out, you could have done that.
But, all right, we said what I said what I'm going to say. Go ahead. But I'm not.
Okay,
I mean,
thank
if
you.
you are going to go into
Thank
the
you.
evidence, we have not reviewed the evidence. If you're going to go into the evidence, you're going the wrong direction.
I appreciate the comment of the chairman, sir. I would conclude my comments by saying that Caroline Street is a street that has 15 licensed premises. Some of those premises have more than one license, so there are probably 18 to 20 licenses on Caroline Street alone, and an additional 20 licenses within a block of Clancy's. It's a very highly compact area relative to on-premise licensees. In the area where Clancy's is located, there are several parking lots and an all-night pizza joint that many people go to after they leave the bars. We, at the request of the local police department, when these charges were first filed, reduced our hours to 3 a.m. and thereafter reduced our hours to 2 a.m. to my client's great economic disadvantage because the other pharmacies on the street are still open till 4. So all of our customers go across the street or down the street. But we have done that, and it has not resulted in a great change on the street. I would suggest to the board that the entire area is a focus of police activity because of the parking lots as much as the licensees. And my clients have a history, and both Mr. Clancy's are here. My clients have a history that goes up to as recently as Monday and Tuesday of this week of meeting with the public safety commissioner, the chief of police, and members, I believe Mr. Di Benedetti from your office, to try to work out a system where licensees, police department, and the public can have a safe place to be at the bottom of Caroline Street. My clients have made great strides in terminating and replacing staff, in changing their business model, in hiring new, always licensed security people. I would advise the board that my client for 15 years or more has had every single employee as a condition of employment, has the obligation to complete a TIPS program and to bring in the certificate to file with the office. Mr. Clancy Sr., well, he's actually Mr. Clancy Jr., but John Clancy has tried for 26 years, 27 years now, I believe, to operate a good establishment. And yes, he had some problems. And yes, he acknowledged those problems. And yes, the neighborhood has changed. And yes, he has taken extraordinary steps to try to meet the changes. And until this past Saturday, had gone 5.5 months without a single phone call to the local police department that in any way involved his establishment. This past Saturday, I'm aware that some members of the board, somebody from the board, reached out to the Saratoga Police Department because they had a meeting 2 days this week. My clients met with members of the police department and said that they had talked to people from the State Liquor Authority. My clients
That may be, but it's not from no member of the board called the police department in Saratoga.
No, I misspoke. I meant a member of the SLA to see how things were going relative to this licensee. The issue is the Clancy family has been and continues to be a positive influence on the lower end of Caroline Street, and they have done everything that they possibly could. Yes, they stubbed their toe when they started following the new crowd that came in when at the top of the street, hip hop clubs were open and the demographics of the street changed. They realized that mistake. They changed back to their old business model of catering to the local crowd, primarily the local hospitality workers when they get off work. And it has paid dividends in a quieter place and no police referrals. And they're doing their best to move forward in a positive way. I have provided
Can I speak to your client, sir?
Sure.
You're making broad claims about they had this business model and then they changed this business model and then they have gone back. Let's talk about the specifics here. What are you actually referring to? Because they had this business for a good 14 years until all these issues start happening in 2021. So what has happened in the post-pandemic time?
Well, after we opened up, after the pandemic closed down, a few of the businesses up the street turned more clubs with DJs, and that brought out a whole different clientele into Saratoga. As us being one of the bars in Saratoga, when they would start to close, we would get that clientele, and I wouldn't say we changed. It's just it's what the nights became in Saratoga. It changed from where it was before the pandemic in our 2019 business. We saw the way it was going, the problems that the crowds were causing up the street, and we made some changes. And
When did the changes happen? Before the guy died or after?
it was after.
And what, other than the 2 o'clock closing, what changes? Do you still have DJs?
No, we've never had a DJ. We replaced our entire night bartending staff. We have gotten rid of our total security. We had hired a whole new security staff. And we started at 3 o'clock, at closing the doors at 3 o'clock, then went to 2 o'clock closing. We never had any DJs. We don't have music in our bar except for a jukebox.
Members ready to vote, or?
I asked him if he's finished. I don't have any other questions. Are you finished, sir? Because we're ready to vote.
Yes, unless you have any further questions for either of the Misters Clancy, we're prepared for a vote.
Commissioner Van?
Often in my head, when there's a loss of life, it often leads to a loss of license. But this is really a family business. I realize that this is a family business and you guys really have been there for a long time and you're the cornerstone of this so-called party street that's changing a lot. And so if you can stick to your 2 a.m. and stick to really very diligently using your scanner, I would be willing to give you another opportunity to try to work at this and be the protector on your street. So I don't know if I'm going to get the other two to agree with me. But if I can get that commitment, I'm at 30,000.
Make
Yes.
part of the penalty, Commissioner Fan, or the 2 a.m. and scanner?
Yes, 2 a.m. and scanner.
Commissioner Ford?
You have no history, basically, in 25 years. And all of a sudden, just all hell broke loose. You have a letter of support from the chamber. I think, was it the Saratoga Board of Supervisors as well? So I'm pretty familiar with Caroline Street. You know, it's a party street. That's why people go there. But still, that doesn't relinquish your responsibility to make sure that people do not get hurt by coming to your business or leaving your business. So I'm actually, as far as Commissioner Fan, the figure that she quoted was exactly what I was thinking. $30,000 and the 2 a.m. closing you will maintain for the rest of the year.
And the scanner.
And the scanner. And you already have new security? Did I hear that earlier?
Yes. We hired a whole new security staff, and we have the scanner.
My vote is for 2 a.m. until further notice, until they come back and request for later hours.
Yeah.
If things go right and, 18 months from now, you feel like maybe the clubs have adjusted, there's something that is different, you can certainly come back and try to go back to 4 a.m.
Thank you.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm at cancel and bond. We have an individual, because of a fight that started in the establishment, who ended up dying. We have 3 heroin overdoses, which it's clear from the evidence and the police reports that I've seen that the heroin was in the bar, and the only reason these 3 people did not die is because the police were able to respond with Narcan in quick enough time to save their lives. We have 53 911 calls directed at this premise in a 10-month period, which didn't end until February of this year. 10.5 months, 53 911 calls. The street, Caroline Street, which I, as a younger person, spent a great many nights on, is not the Caroline Street that I used to go to. And we're being not only told, but it's been clear in the newspapers that this establishment is one of the direct problems on Caroline Street, and I am at cancel and bond.
All right. All right, thank you. You're at 30K.
I think you
Letter.
should take that as a warning that the next time you come before us, our decisions will be different.
No, and I do want to add one other thing. It's quite obvious that the police are overwhelmed up there. It's been well publicized in their local paper as well as the Albany paper. And I will tell you now, if you end up back here, I'm past cancel and at revoke, which means you're not going to get another license.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
Paula, there's no one else in Albany, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. It's 10:28. You're good to go whenever. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is 850. Well, we'll move on to New York City items, which first is 857, GERMAT of New York Incorporated.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Robert Romano. I'm here with Mr. German Rizzo, who is the licensee as well as the applicant, since this is a changing class application. It's from an RW to an on-premise 252. I've submitted our explanation of, I believe, the concerns of the ALJ in their report. One of the main concerns she had pointed out was the exceeding the capacity by the number of employees and the number of seats. And excuse me, I explained that away by pointing out that at no time will there be 15 employees working simultaneously. He's got 7 days, 2 shifts, and usually you have, what, 5, 6 people per shift? 6 people per shift.
This is a dinner service only?
Monday through Friday, and Saturday, Sunday is double.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been operating since 2019 without, there was one masking incident. A chef had a mask below the nose, but other than that, he's run a compliant.
What are your hours?
Is Monday to Friday, 4 to midnight, and Saturday, 12 to midnight, Sunday, 12 to 11.
And he has a signed stipulation.
For your upgrade, I'm going to vote to approve. Midnight across the board, no security guard, recorded music only, no promoters, no private events. Bathroom waiver, it's okay with me.
That's
And,
fine.
and 10 p.m. outside.
I do have a question about, you asked for a restroom waiver, but the diagram you submitted,
They told us
Has-
it would be.
Yeah, I saw that last night for the first time, and there are 2 bathrooms. There's no issue with that. I don't
I'm
know whether-
adopting all of CB3's stipulations that agreed to, which includes, as Chairman keep pointing out to me, that it's 10 p.m.
10
outside.
p.m. on the outside.
Commissioner Ford
I'll agree to the same terms.
and Chairman Bradley.
I'll approve as well.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah,
Good luck.
good luck.
Next is 911. That's the Wine Pro Inc.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chairman, Council to the Authority. Bruno Joffrey for the Wine Pro Inc. I believe there is opposition here as well today.
Okay, you can let them go first.
Okay.
Chairman, this is a reconsideration, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Yeah, Mr. Joffrey, you're gonna have to go first.
Sorry.
I did know that, but I didn't have my paper out yet.
Yes, which
Can I have 1 second? I'm sorry. I
Sure.
think-
What happened now?
is blank screen.
Gary, can you still hear us?
can.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so in reviewing the decision where Commissioner Fan had approved and Chairman Bradley and Commissioner Ford disapproved, some of the things that were pointed out were that although my client last time through virtually, I believe, or through the TV video had spoken about the need for the specific Italian boutique wines that the restaurant that his parents own next door to this proposed place, that customers had been showing a very great desire to have these particular wines, and just for him, if he opened up a wine store, that they would want to buy these wines that these other locations don't, the two closest locations don't carry. In your decision, you mentioned that there was no hard evidence, no petitions, no letters. So in that regard, my client reached out, and customers that had come in provided them with petitions, which they signed over 220 signatures. There's also two letters from, one from a legislator, another from a former mayor who's very familiar with the area. And then also, I believe, I know that the board had indicated that there was no increase in population, but I don't know if the board considered the additional recent developments that have been put up with both housing, residential as well as commercial housing. That wasn't mentioned in the decision. So we provided all of this to the board, and we believe that this is a basis for the reconsideration.
Members have any questions? Are you ready to vote on consideration?
I don't.
Commissioner Fan?
I'm gonna vote yes on reconsideration.
Commissioner Ford?
There was a store that was conditionally approved and pending in the area. What is that? Give me just a moment here.
Yes, I believe that's CC Park. That's quite a distance away, and I don't believe there's any opposition from them.
But they were just approved. They're not open yet.
No. They haven't even moved there yet.
Can you tell me how far that is, Tom?
I'm trying to find the, what's the name of it?
The name of it is,
CC Park, I believe, CECI.
sorry, I made a note of it, but I didn't write the name of it.
I have the serial number. if that
I
will
have it.
help.
Approved on March 4th, and it has not been issued as 965 Mamaroneck.
Correct.
That was March 4th of 2021, correct?
Right.
In addition, as far as that particular
I'll try to get
location,
the measurement if you want.
I'm familiar with that location too, and it's a liquor store, as primarily liquor, has some wines. Totally not what my client is looking to do. He's very limited in what he's looking to offer his customers. He's willing to limit himself and get a list from all the closest places and not have anything that they carry.
Driving, it's 0.6 miles.
So it is one of the four closest.
It would be, it will be.
Yeah, moved into it.
So I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna have to vote to deny as well. I'm gonna have to deny, it just like I did before. We still have another store that's entering into the market that we have no idea how that's going to impact things yet.
Just to be clear, Commissioner, are you denying reconsideration? I'm sorry.
And Chairman Bradley.
I'm going to deny reconsideration as well. I considered everything that you presented here. Granted, you do have a list of people that signed a petition, but my focus was generally on the 450 feet away the closest store was, as well as the 0.1 miles the second closest store was away from this location, and that we do have a new store here. So everything that you brought up I did consider, but I put more weight on the other stuff.
So it's mainly the location itself,
Yeah,
Chairman?
Yeah, clearly not him. No, he's not a problem. Or the
Okay.
top, or the what he wants to do. It's just the location.
Okay,
It's purely just a location, not him at all.
okay.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right, before we move to the next item, Jonathan, can you move the podium? I think the wires are still kind of exposed.
I can't even move it that far. Think about it.
Oh,
The
there's no
wire
way.
for the mic, you know.
Okay.
Just
Well,
when you
please
come
watch
up here,
the.
just watch
Yeah,
your feet.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Can we tape it down? The wires?
Well, it's the outlets down there, so if they like move their feet, they could knock some.
No, but can we tape the wires to the floor?
I don't know.
No, because if I unplug the mic, they're not going to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
You know?
Just leave it alone.
Just watch your feet when you're
Yeah,
up
just
there on
watch
the
your feet,
podium.
please.
All right, next is 909. That's Crown Wine and Liquor Corp.
Good morning, Vivian Tazaki on behalf of Crown Wine and Liquor Corporation located at 1087 Southern Boulevard, Bronx, New York. There is opposition.
Are you replacing a closed store here, Tom?
No, well, it's 2004 shot. So it's been all 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, the store that was here hasn't been licensed since 2004.
Yeah, we'll hear from the opposition.
Can you actually
Also,
introduce
you're right. So this is the applicant Ellison Coronado, and then this is Karen Finster. She's a Spanish interpreter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, Thomas Burke from the Law Office of Stacey Weiss. I represent HCK Inc. and SAJ Liquors, two of the four closest stores. And with me are Mr. Christopher Smith, the manager of HCK Inc., and Lynn Hui is the owner of SAG Liquors. So there are 8 stores within 2,800 feet of the proposed location, and there are 2 stores in less than 1,000 feet of the proposed location. There was a slight increase in population, less than 4%, which is not significant.
Over what period of time?
Between 2010 and 2019. Okay,
How much increase?
a little less than 4%.
Okay.
Okay, as far as new development is concerned, the only new development in the area is a new apartment building going up at 980 Westchester Avenue, and that's directly across the street from SAG Liquors. She certainly can take care of any new business there. HCK Inc. tells me that their sales, January through May of '21 and January through May of '22, are down 32%. SAG Liquors showed me their figures, which says that between January to May 21 and January to May 22, their sales are down 18%. The area around these stores is a high crime area. The crime is up 16% in the 401 precinct in the last 2 years, and it's a very low income area. The median household income is $24,000. 1/3 of the population in the area lives below the poverty line. They certainly don't need another liquor store in that area. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. So basically, I'm Argelio Rodriguez, and I represent 2 of the 4 closest liquor stores. Specifically, I represent R&D Wine and Liquor Corp., which is about 995 feet away. I represent SMS Liquors, which is 1 1,397 feet away. And I'm joined here by Sadiq and Shanali of SNS Liquors. And I'm also here with Ryan Persad, actually, who literally just went to the bathroom prior to being called, and he should be out momentarily. He is the husband of the principal and the manager, and so which is Bibi and Shanali. And so I'll just give an overview, the highlights of our points. In short, there's 2 liquor stores within 1,000 feet of the applicant. There's Saj Liquors, which is 892 feet away on 995 Westchester Avenue, and then R&D Wine and Liquors is 995 feet away, located at 944 Aldous Street, which is about 30 feet from Southern Boulevard. Second, the authority has already disapproved other liquor stores in close proximity, specifically Buzengo Inc. on April 18, 2018, which is at 1120 Westchester Avenue. In terms of gross sales, I'm not going to rehash the gross sales that council just explained, but I will highlight R&D Liquors had a decline from 2020 to 2021 first 3 quarters that was significant. And then just in general,
Also expected.
I'm sorry?
Also expected the decline, given COVID.
Well,
most liquor stores went up significantly during COVID.
Correct, yeah. And so gross sales of the closest stores do not favor serving the public convenience advantage. The applicant hasn't indicated at all that it will offer anything unique or different or something not already available, at least in the application that I pulled early this year. And so fifth, the applicant's financial disclosure indicates that only $20,000 is being invested, which raises skepticism about the veracity of that disclosure. And sixth, and final point, the notice that's required to be posted of a new package store coming was not there as of my last visit on Friday, May 20th. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to address some of the things in the opposition's memo, this is a majority Latin community, and this application has been pending since August of 2021. During that time, he's had plenty of time to research what makes his store unique. He's provided me a list of at least 20, and I believe he has more items that he's gone into these other stores to try to buy that they do not carry. I don't want to butcher the names, but Brugal, Barcello, Mamajuana.
Brugal, Barceló, Mamajuana, Ron Valero, Calebu, La Española, Ginebra, Ron Barbu, Haiti, Banquis, Cuban, Havana Club, Cruzen, Don Q, Blue Shine, Santa Teresa, Ron Macorís, Santa Teresa, Bacardi, Hispanic, Chicharrón, Don Reyes, y Bermudez.
And in addressing the gross sales, opposition, he mentioned the gross sales from January to September 2021, which he turned in, but then he skipped and went from January to May for 2022. So I'm just curious to know what they did gross sales wise for the holiday seasons. So that was one point. And then in regards to Bulletproof, he is not a Bulletproof store. He wants the customers to be able to come in and feel welcome, touch the bottles.
So would you just please keep it down? If we have a question for you, we certainly will call you up.
And just lastly, to touch on the finances, 25,000 was actually what we submitted. We didn't submit 20,000. But I know it's only $5,000 different. But the reason why is because his uncle is a construction worker, so he's really just buying the materials, and his uncle is doing all of the construction for him.
But who? I guess it's still significantly low. Who's going to pay for the inventory, the insurance, all the upfront costs that are going to?
He works 2 jobs. He works as
That's fine, but that's not here. The money invested, when they say invested, what's he going to invest in this store? And where is it coming from?
Well, that's the number that I was given. He put up money for the liquor license application and the build out of the store. So, and he's working 2 jobs as a general manager of a, what is it?
Boston Road Main Market.
And double shifts as an Uber driver.
Did you borrow any money from anybody for the store?
No, he did not.
I'm asking him.
Apologies.
Family members, anybody?
No.
The man, or who was speaking about the products he was listing? Not you, let the,
The products that they
into
mentioned,
the microphone, please.
the products that they mentioned is basic, like American, it's very basic liquors. We carry them as what they listed. I heard the names and I know that we carry them.
Okay.
Could she say the names?
He can say the same in his.
I'm sorry, my name is Chris. I represent HCK. The items that he listed are basic. That's like going into a store and not finding Budweiser, Bulgal, Barcelo. Everybody sells them.
Okay.
He's not bringing anything new to the neighborhood.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sadiq, SNS Liquor. Whatever he said, we carry all those items. We carry Bugar, Bucana, Kahlua, everything that they mentioned, so it's nothing different.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ryan. I'm here representing R&D Wine and Liquor. We do carry a wide selection of the rums that he had mentioned before, from Brugal to, all the Dominican rums and wines and stuff like that. We do carry that in stock.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, one more thing. We are also open store.
Wait, which store is that?
R&D Wine and Liquor.
Yes, you're an open store, but all the other ones are Brule approved.
Correct.
Have any further questions or?
No.
Members ready to vote?
But I do have one question. Is anybody here from HCK Liquors?
I'm HCK.
Okay, can you come up here for a second? When did you open?
HCK took over 2020.
1/11/21, 18 months ago.
Oh, it was a transfer. There's a store there
Yeah,
already?
there was a previous liquor store
Paperwork
already
we
open.
have. Okay, thank you. The paper we have is wrong.
And SAJ, who's that one? You guys moved there, you were,
Less than 3 years ago.
but the license has been there since 2003, but they took it over. It's a transfer in
They took it
2019.
over in 9/19.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Donald.
Commissioner Finn?
It's a general policy here that we prefer non-bulletproof store. So for that one reason, I'm going to vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford?
To have a non-bulletproof store surrounded by stores that are bulletproof is generally our policy, unwritten, I guess I would say. But I'm just looking at the numbers, and they just don't seem to justify the need for another store. So I'm going to vote to deny.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to deny too. Commissioner Fan is completely correct, but I still have an issue with the 25,000. I don't know how you are going to open any kind of store with $25,000 after you spent it all on renovations. There's no other money, at least that's in the application, for costs that we know exist. And then the other stores are all within a 5-minute walk, and they're all, I wouldn't say they're struggling, but their sales are mostly flat to down. So I'm going to vote to deny.
All right. Next is 910 SJP Spirits LLC. And just a note, when you walk up, you don't have to have the mic directly in front of you. It creates an echoey sound. So if you could please push the mic away.
Oh, can you
What
repeat the
number is this?
please?
910. 910.
And you are.
And you're the applicant, correct?
Yes, I'm.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves. And could you push that kind
Yeah,
of?
can I get
Yeah,
this away
like,
from
yeah, thank you.
Yes, Francis Buscemi for SJP Spirits LLC. With me today is Susan Park, the applicant, and her uncle, Mr. Kim, who will be managing the store with her. They'll be managing the store together. I believe there's opposition. I'll let the opposition go.
Charles Lynn for the opposition. I represent 3 stores, Andy's Wine and Liquor Inc. at 4241 White Plains Road, Hang City Brothers Inc. at 4388 White Plains Road, and Wakefield Spirits at 930 East 233rd Street. With me today is representative from Wakefield Spirits, Dominic Kim. He's the manager of the store. And for Andy's Wine and Liquor, which is at 4241 White Plains Road, is Alex Mahu. He's not on the license, but his mother's the licensee and she's ill, so he came on her behalf.
Sorry, Mr. Lin, can you just say those 3 stores again?
Andy's Wine and Liquor at 4241 White Plains Road. It's the store closest to the applicant. Hang City Brothers at 4388 White Plains Road. And Wakefield Spirits at 930 East 233rd Street.
Okay.
The gross sales figures for 4 stores, for the 4 closest stores, all show increases in gross sales, with the second store, Hang City, showing substantial sales growth. However, I would like to point out that looking at my client stores, Andy's Wine and Liquor, All Savers, and Wakefield Spirits, it would appear that a strong argument could be made that the COVID anomaly for 2020 and 2021 could very well have been the trigger for all of these increases. It certainly wasn't because of population growth, no gentrification of the area, no open stores with vibrant new lines of product, because all the stores on White Plains Road are bulletproof. And mentioning bulletproof stores and coordination with proximity, there are 12 stores within 1.1 miles of the applicant. I had a survey, and the list of those stores were supplied with my opposition papers. It's very interesting also to see that these 11 stores are all on the east side of the Bronx River Parkway. So there is actually a border. I didn't include the close store on the other side of Bronx River Parkway, but there is that borderline. So all of these stores have a line on White Plains Road, and then those on East 233rd Street are just going a little bit more north. So there is a saturation of liquor stores in the area. 7 stores are already on White Plains Road, 3 stores to the east, 4 stores to the west, all within 1.1 miles of applicant. Again, I have my survey to show that and list of stores. Andy's Wine and Liquor is a bulletproof store, but it's only 549 feet from the applicant. As far as population in the area, the growth rate for zip code 10466 has seen only an increase of 8,044 people over the last 9 years. That's 1.4% per annum over the last 9 years. And I set forth the population from evidence as my Exhibit B. There's no evidence that applicant will find any new line of products or new services that the current 12 stores within 1.1 miles of applicant are now supplying. All of them are pretty much mom and pop discount stores. There's no evidence of increased demand for alcohol beverages based upon population. There's no showing that the public is not being adequately serviced by the existing 13 stores. Applicant's store is, in their application, 561 square feet, retail, almost the same size as all of the bulletproof stores on White Plains Road. What kind of variety can a 561 square foot store provide? And who are its customers coming to that store. There is no public convenience and advantage to enter this area of White Plains Road. The 4 closest stores on White Plains Road are all bulletproof, obviously reflecting a tough neighborhood. Parking in front of the applicant's store is almost impossible. Cars off both sides of the street under the subway are double parked almost all the time. And specifically in front of applicants is a expanded sidewalk for a bus stop. It would appear that applicant's principal will not be full-time at the store. Mr. Kim, who's on the application, had previously owned a store. In my investigation, that store was on Burke Avenue in the Bronx. It was it involved French Chateau wines, which was its basic selling point, and the current manager is all about my age, or maybe a little bit older, and it would seem that to have a 561 square foot store in this kind of neighborhood for quality wines, if they are Chateau or similar type of wines, or somebody has experience with that and not discounting, it seems to me not public convenience advantage.
That store is still in business?
Excuse me?
That store is still in business?
I don't know what happened. I know they surrendered. I don't know if it was a transfer.
And closed.
It closed, yeah, in 2019. I don't know if it was a
2 years
transfer
later.
or it just closed.
Okay.
So
How
for
far is that from here?
Burke Avenue, I didn't measure it. I'm sorry. I don't think it's very close.
I will ask Google then.
Yes, thank you.
I actually wanted to, I don't know, I'm probably out of place here, bring up something about Mr. Kim's ownership of that store.
Okay, thank you.
If you look on workflow, I know the PQ says he didn't gain ownership until 2018, but there's a application signed by him from as far back as 2003, and he's, as far as I know, he's the only owner that I believe is Ironman Wines and Liquors. He's been the only owner, so I don't know why the PQ says 2018 when, as far as I can see, it's 2003 or earlier. So,
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
And the issue of the
Very
church is not an
interesting.
issue?
And there's some disciplinary issue tied to the store also.
What is that?
In 2013, there were a string, I believe, 4 of sales to minors. So I don't know if that's, I believe Mr. Buscemi can explain that, or Mr. Kim.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Lynn, if you were.
No, LAMP used to be able to show us that, and unfortunately, with the new change, that's information that I did not get, and I appreciate the Secretary's office supplying that. So I would not believe that public convenience and advantage at this location, even though it is an open store, really would serve public convenience and advantage.
Thank you.
2.2 miles away.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, just to clarify, with regard to Mr. Kim, the submission that I put in did correct that typographical error on the personal questionnaire. So you have the amended personal questionnaire of Mr. Kim, right, correcting that. So he's been in business, he's been a store owner and operator for like 30 years, I think, and has a wealth of information concerning the industry. He's going to manage the store with Susan Park. The store is not a 561 square foot store. It's a 1,790 square foot store with 561 square feet of retail space. The store is located in a retail shopping hub and public transportation hub. It's at the corner, it's by the corner of 2 major crossroads, White Plains Road and 233rd Street. It's next to a subway station for the number 2 and 5 subway lines, as well as there being a number of bus stops right by the store. We've attached photographs and a map, Exhibit A, showing the proximity of the store to public transportation. Public transportation and local shopping on foot is a major concern here. If you look at the demographics, 50% of the residents of the area do not have a vehicle. So local shopping by foot and that kind of convenience is extremely important. Also, public transportation is the main means of transportation for people getting to and from work, not vehicles. So having that accessibility and being by the subway, the bus stops, and being in close proximity, as I said, to the retail shopping hub that exists there is very important.
Yeah, but by the same argument, the store that is closest to you, it's not really doing that well. I mean, if you're saying that people only walk and they can't even drive and can't travel, it actually works against you.
Well, that store is a bulletproof store, and I addressed that in my paper, in my submission. This store is located directly across the street from a Key Food supermarket in the block. There's a Rite Aid with an Amazon locker hub. You have the post office. You have Chase Bank. You have a fish market, a butcher shop, an ethnic grocery store focusing on West Indian products. There are also a high-volume fast food restaurants in the immediate area. Further within a 4-minute walk of this store, you have Montefiore Medical Center, which is the largest employer in the area. The facility expands 4 blocks, and the applicant wants to market directly to the employees of that hospital. Unlike 3 of the 4 closest stores, which are bulletproof, this store is going to be an open, modern store with offering a pleasant shopping experience. The core is going to, they'll be carrying spirits, but also a broad selection of wines, which the other stores are not carrying. We've supplied you with an exhibit indicating a sampling of the type of wines that the store would be carrying. This business is going to be much more modern than others. It's going to focus on interacting with consumers using state-of-the-art engagement tools such as Twilio, all right, to directly communicate to its customers. That will enable them to aggregate other messaging platforms into one seamless consumer experience. All right, consumers will be able to on the platform, they'll be able to contact the store, to be able to ask questions, to discuss products, to place orders, which can be picked up at the store, so customers don't have to wait. They're going to take advantage of popular social media platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. As a medium to establish a marketing presence and disseminate product information, give special offers, discounts, publicize tasting events, which the other stores, 3 of the other stores can't even do. They're bulletproof stores. SJP is going to have tastings, which are based on seasons. So that in springtime, there'll be certain types of wine products. In winter, there'll be other types of wine products that would go along with the season that we're in at the time. When you look at the demographics of the area, there have been increases, and my demographic isn't just zip code, it's radial demographics, 2/10, 3/10, a half a mile, and 1 mile.
And you really want to use those numbers?
Well, I mean, within 2/10 of a mile over the years.
2/10 of a mile, just so the record's clear, the census was 6,985. 2021 population, the same 2/10 of a mile was 7,276. That's 300 people, approximately.
Within 2/10 of a mile.
3/10 of a mile, you get 600.
It's not decreasing.
Well, that's correct. Well, we don't even know that.
And within a 4-minute walk on 233rd Street.
All 600 of those people could be infants.
On 233rd Street, within 4-minute walk, there's a 116-unit apartment building that just got its certificate of occupancy in April of this year.
But in order to get there, how many liquor stores are they walking by to get to your store?
They're right on 233rd Street. We're at the intersection of 233rd and
So they could be walking
White
by
Plains Road,
two?
Mr. Chairman. Two bulletproof stores, if
Correct.
they have to walk by them,
Correct.
all right? You mentioned Andy's, which is the closest store. We've given you information on Andy's. All right, Andy's has a very limited wine selection, almost no wines. My client visited the store. There's almost no wine, no sparkling wine, very, very limited. When you look at the photograph that was taken of Andy's, you look at the storefront, it's faded signage. It doesn't even, the store doesn't even appear on Google Maps. We believe its low sales volume reflects the poor appearance and the limited selection of that store. When you look at Hang City Brother, a bulletproof store that's half a mile away. And other than Andy's, all the stores are 4/10 mile away. Hang City Brothers, bulletproof, a half mile away, doing $2 million a year. That store is located on Nereid Avenue, one subway, or at a subway stop, which is one full subway stop away from our store. DNY Liquor, again, a bulletproof store, 4/10 mile from the applicant. That store shows a 30% increase between 2020 and 2021. It's doing almost $900,000 in 2021. Wakefield, all right, is the one open store in the scenario. That's 4/10 mile from where we are. It's a 3,000 square foot store doing over $2 million a year. And that store is far from public transportation and is more suited to customers that are shopping with vehicles, since there's a lack of public transportation by it. We believe that we differentiate our method of operation from the existing stores, 3 of which are bulletproof. We're going to be presenting, we're going to be giving the consumers in the area a much better shopping experience. We're going to be giving them a different product selection, and we'll be providing them with different services, more high-tech services than any of the stores are now doing. The only store, as an example, I believe, that that would be Andy has an Instagram, Liquorland has Twitter. Both postings and communications are very dated, about 2 years old, and they are infrequent if you go on and look at that.
Does he have 5 minutes? He's timing us? All right.
Are there any questions?
Can I speak with your client?
Sure.
You have clearly lived in Manhattan for quite some time.
That's correct.
Why the Bronx?
Well,
Can you move to the microphone?
just familiar with the area because my uncle used to have a store there. I've been in New York City since 2002, so I've lived here longer than I've lived, in Maryland.
So you're going
That's
to
where I'm
go,
from.
and it appears you have a job in Manhattan.
That's correct. I'm in
Would appear to
finance.
be a very demanding job based
Correct.
on my experience. And you're going to spend 50 hours a week up in the Bronx?
No, the plan is if I get approved, is to put in my notice. So the impetus of this was, I need a little bit more flexibility in my schedule. We just expanded our family, so I have a 1-year-old. So I was thinking, what can I do in the future and what do I want to do? And I've had experience, visiting and, talking to my uncle, not interested in the business. I'm pretty familiar with family-owned businesses because my parents had it as well and other family members. So there's something rewarding about, being your own owner and having your own business. And this is why I decided to move forward with this.
She's not going to maintain her present
No,
occupation.
well, definitely not.
And do any of your other family members own liquor stores besides your uncle used to?
Right. So my uncle had the store and my husband bought it out because my uncle was retiring.
Oh, your husband owns your uncle's store.
Correct.
Do we know that? Not that means you can't have a store. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either.
It would not have been disclosed, or needed to be disclosed.
If her husband owns a liquor store, don't we ask that question?
It
No.
was. No, it wasn't.
We don't ask if any close relatives own a liquor store?
We used to require the spouse a personal
Okay.
I mean, the husband will have no interest in this liquor store whatsoever.
I know
the scenario.
Sam.
question I asked if there's relationship to the prior licensee.
Okay. So he bought your husband bought him out in 2020.
2020.
And how far is that store from here, did you say?
It's like over 2 miles south.
Roughly 20 blocks somewhere.
About 2.1 miles.
Anyone else in your family? Uncle, aunt, cousin?
Daniel Lee, right? It's right here. Your husband's Daniel Lee?
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, just two items.
Go ahead.
Number one, we always get the attorney giving an esoteric discussion of all the modern techniques that are going to be used in a new liquor store. And I think maybe perhaps, just as a suggestion, we should have this directed directly to the principal and see whether in fact, if this is just a scenario that's used all the time, or in essence, is this actually something that expertise and ideas that are going to come directly from the principal? Second thing is that,
Well, her husband has owned a
which comes to my,
owns a store, so I'm guessing that she probably is pretty well versed one way or the other.
yeah, and that comes to my second argument or concept is that it's, I was concerned, I mentioned my concern about Mr. Kim coming in as a manager and whether there was any relationship and who the true party in interest was, and the fact that that other store was just sold, and now this store, only a year and a half later, is looking to be licensed.
It's not illegal.
No, I'm just saying in the context of everything else. That's all that I'm saying.
I mean, I have the same concerns you do, and the one thing should this get granted, is they will lose both stores if that becomes an issue. Both, not one, both.
And that new development.
And I'm sure Mr. Buscemi will come in here and try to convince me otherwise, and he may be able to convince them, but he will not convince me.
And that new development on East 233rd Street, which was pointed out, which is 0.4 miles, 0.5 miles away, is directly near.
It's a 4-minute walk, I said.
It is a 4-minute walk, but Wakefield Spirits is right there. Wakefield Spirits is 0.4 miles away from the applicant.
I think I made that clear.
Okay.
Members ready to vote?
Yes, I am.
Can I address Mr.
No.
Lynn's comments?
Nope. Thank you.
Commissioner Fan?
I'm going to vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford?
The one store that's closest is doing the most horrible. I appreciate the fact that it would be non-bulletproof, but just looking at the numbers, I just don't see there to be another need for another store in this area, so I'm going to vote to deny.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'm actually going to vote to approve. I was going to go with the fact that, one, it is non-bulletproof, and they do appear to have a method of operation that is different from anybody nearby, and that it is, I was not aware either from the application that she intended on being full-time, but.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you.
Yep, thank you. Next is 855 Summer Wine and Liquor Inc.
What number?
855.
Francis Buscemi for the applicant. With me today is Mei Hong, the principal of Summer Wine. This is an alteration application, just to add.
Is there any opposition here? We have to hear from them in a moment.
Come on up.
Come on up. Go ahead.
I'm very short. Good morning. I'm opposing the application for an alteration of Bottle Blowout located on Nesconset Highway in East Setauket.
I'm sorry, which store?
Bottle Blowout, Summer Wine?
Summer Wine?
Yes, I think their DBA is Bottle Blowout.
What store do you represent?
Push up a little bit.
I represent.
Push the mic up. There you go.
Yeah, that should be good.
Thank you. I represent Jazz Wine and Liquor. And I'm also located on Nesconset Highway.
And how big's your store?
My store is about 2,000 square feet.
You own the store?
Yes.
Yeah, she's the fifth closest store.
And why do you, what's the opposition? Just you don't think there's a need for a bigger store?
Well, yes, I think its expansion does not offer any public convenience and advantage. I have a new license at that location, and it's only a short drive away from this location. I've been in business only for about a year, which my sales, they have remained stagnant within that time.
Which store is yours again? I'm sorry.
Jazz Wine and Liquor on Nesconset Highway.
We don't actually have numbers from you.
I was gonna
How
ask
come
you,
that?
no numbers came in.
I didn't actually receive a letter, so I actually found out about this, so I had to come in. But I never received anything requesting any information or even finding out about this alteration.
Okay.
As it is, I offer a wide selection of wines and spirits, focusing on New York and Long Island wines. We offer regular tastings. I plan on providing further wine education in the near future. I just don't see a need for expansion of the store. My research also shows that East Setauket and Port Jeff both have a declining number. East Setauket has about 2% decline in population. I just think that expansion.
Where are you getting that number?
US data. Expansion of the store here will have a negative impact on my livelihood as well as my employees' livelihood. This is indicated within their name. Their name is Bottle Blowout. This would be similar to putting a Total Wine right by my store. And I feel like it's showing a clear intent to take over the market within my area.
Well, to be fair, the store size here would be 3,000 square feet.
I think it's about 3,000 square feet currently, because I've looked at the images, I've been inside the
Well,
store,
we'll
it's at
find
an
out,
end cap.
But Total Wine is 10 times that size.
But in the location that I am at, being a brand new store, just starting out business,
I'm just talking about the comparison. I don't know that it was fair. Is anything else?
that's it on me.
How's it going?
Good.
My name is Ranpreet Singh, and I own Just One Wine and Liquors in Setauket.
Which one?
Just One. It's on 276 Pond Path. I'm a 7-minute drive from this location.
How far is 7-minute drive?
I'm not sure exactly.
What's your address?
276 Pond Path.
What's the street?
Pond Path.
Oh, so you're not one of the closest.
Yeah, bless you.
But it's a highway, so it's like 6-7 minutes away.
Okay, go
That's why I'm
ahead.
here.
So how did you find out about this?
One of my salespeople told me.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I bought the store at the end of 2020, and I bought a completely failing store. So since I bought that store, I've been trying to get it up and running again. So since then, I brought in, a whole bunch of wine and liquors. I'm 70-30 on the ratio. I have all of New York wines and everything. And I feel like if this store gets even bigger now, they're gonna affect me in a great way. And they're so close. It's a highway, so it's only 6 minutes away. And it's also gonna affect the other store that's there too. I feel like the community right now is being served like tremendously, and I feel like another store getting bigger is gonna make everything worse for everyone, and it's not gonna provide anyone any more convenience.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And ma'am, you're right, it's 3,600 square feet.
Is anyone here from Lee Wines and Liquors by chance?
I'm sorry?
Anyone here from Lee, LI Wines and Liquors?
No.
All right.
It's 2,000 now, going to
3,600, right? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Buscemi.
Yes, thank you. All right. Ms. Hong purchased the business, Summer Wine and Liquor business, in 2015. The store is currently a 2,000 square foot store with 1,200 square feet of retail sales area. The store wants to increase by adding 1,600 square feet. So the sales area, retail sales area would increase from 1,200 to 2,160 square feet, which is an increase of 960 square feet. Store is located in the Suffolk Plaza Shopping Center. Excuse me. The shopping center is a 84,400 square foot retail center with retail space. There's going to be a 37,000 square foot Amazon Fresh supermarket opening up by late summer of this this year. Summer Wine and Liquor's one store away from where the Amazon Fresh supermarket will be opening up. It's on, as we said, Route 347, which is also known as the Wisconsin Highway. That is a New York State highway which runs for over 14 miles in an east-west direction, beginning at the eastern terminus of the Northern Parkway, and it ends at NY 25A in Mount Sinai. So it's a major route of between 4 and 6 lanes, intersecting numerous main roads in Suffolk County. The store is located in East Setauket, which is an affluent area with home prices, some of the most expensive in New York. Approximately 47,000 vehicles per day pass the shopping center. We provided you with that demographic data. Within a 3-mile radius of the store, the population is 90,000, almost 91,000 people. Within 5 miles, the population is over 209,000. 600 feet away from the shopping center, a Heritage Spire Golf Club, which is a new 200-unit, over 55 rental complex.
I think we're ready to vote.
All right. Commissioner Ban?
Given that you've owned the store since 2015, and that there's Amazon Fresh opening close to you, I find public convenience advantage. I'm going to vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm going to vote to approve for the same reasons.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to approve as well.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Next is 835, LINET Liquor LLC.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Adam Lynette. I'm the sole owner of LINET Liquor LLC, DBA Vino Fine Wine and Spirits. And we are, or I am, just trying to move this store 4 blocks because we did not get a lease after having existed for 20 years, a little over 10 years under my licensure.
Okay. We'll hear from them first. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson and Commissioners. My name is Eugene Pillman, and I'm here on behalf of several surrounding liquor stores in opposition to the application, in particular Asian Wine Inc. at 474 3rd Avenue, 111 Lex Liquors Inc. at 111 Lexington Avenue, and Thomas J. McAdam Liquors at 398 3rd Avenue.
Sorry, repeat the last one?
It was Thomas J. McAdam Liquors at 398 3rd Avenue. And we have representatives and owners from those several businesses here with me as well. We submitted in opposition approximately 430 petitions from surrounding neighbors opposing this relocation of the store. We also submitted a Venn diagram showing that the proposed move would actually lead to an oversaturation of availability in the surrounding area. If you measure a radius of 1,000 feet from each existing establishment, you would find that the existing location overlaps with 3 others. But the proposed location on 180.
Where do you get the 1,000 feet? What's that based on?
It's generally, well, it's just based on
No, I'm saying, why are you using that as the standard? I don't understand.
We thought it was a good representation of walking distance.
Okay, go ahead.
And we found that the relocation would interlap with 7 other stores, thereby creating an oversaturation of the area. We'd also like to point out that.
Did you also look to see if stores that he's within 1,000 feet of now became further away?
Well, the stores that he's close to now will remain within the 1,000-foot radius of his proposed location because he is moving just a little bit north. So the stores that he's around now, they're still within his area, but he's entering the area of several other stores as well now.
That just can't be true. He's moving 1,220 feet away. I mean, how could those stores still be just 1,000 feet away?
Well, if you look at the Venn diagrams that we submitted, it's visually represented. I don't know if you have that in front of you.
We do.
So if you look at the difference between the existing and proposed, you can see that the overlap on the proposed overlaps with 7 stores, but on the existing location, it's just with 3 stores. We'd also like to point out that.
Using the 1,000 feet that you're talking about.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
We'd also like to point out that, there's a retail vacancy rate that's elevated in the city. And we believe that there are ample other opportunities in underserved areas to provide his business.
And where's that? The underserved areas, because there are stores everywhere in Manhattan.
There's plenty of stores in Manhattan, but it would not lead to the same saturation as the proposed move to 184 Lexington.
I don't think you can say that unless you show me. Because I'm with her. This is a guy that's been where he is for over a decade, probably more than that, and obviously has a customer base, and you're saying he should just move somewhere else in Manhattan?
Move to a location other than 184 Lexington, yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
And that's about it. And in regards to not reaching a deal with the landlord, we received a copy of the application, the FOIL request. It appears that this business grossed about $4 million in rent, and it's just somewhat hard to believe and unfathomable that, an existing landlord would not keep a long-standing tenant, especially ones that appears to be profitable at a current location. So it's likely that this move is an attempt to expand.
Not, though.
It's not.
I'm going to ask that question myself. It's a valid question, but it's the store is actually 100 feet bigger.
It's a 200 from 1,400 to 1,600 that the increase is going.
But 400 less retail.
No, it's going from 1,500 to 1,600 total
100
size.
feet.
100 feet.
Based on what we received.
But if you look at the location as well, frontage on the avenue,
That probably is more
the
beneficial.
visibility,
Correct.
it'll be beneficial. It'll lead to increase in sales for the business. So it's likely not a landlord issue, but a market share issue that's really driving this move.
It's 100 square feet more in total, but it's still 400 less retail space.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Is anybody here that you don't represent? Sir?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Go ahead, sir. Are you with him?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, unless you have something different than he's gonna say.
Just a picture of the.
No, you can show us the picture.
Okay. This was the existing location. I can bring it closer if you
Yeah, you
want.
can bring it up here.
Yeah. So you can see it's on a side street, not a lot of window footage. And he is currently an Italian specialty shop. And so our concern, as you mentioned, is the new location, which is now on an avenue.
You guys, we're not here to be anti-competitive. I mean, you're showing these pictures, you're actually proving his point that it's more convenient for the public. He has a customer base. Of all the stores that is in the area, he's the only one that has somehow really, really benefited from the pandemic.
Well, yes,
So this guy is obviously doing something right, and he has all this support. So I'm just saying that when you spend time coming up here, do something that actually helps you. Don't do something that helps him. Because our baseline is public convenience and advantage, not anti-competitive.
I understand, but my feeling is, and it can only be my feeling, is that he's going from an Italian specialty shop on a side street to a full-fledged liquor store on an avenue.
We don't know that at all.
And
You guys are saying all these things about him. You're accusing him of lying with no real basis.
Well, and the bottom line is, I don't think there's anything on his license that says he has to be only Italian wines. Is there, Donald? Or Tom? No, so he's not. He's doing that by choice right now. It's not something that we instituted or
Okay.
that there's a limit on his license. He could have been selling liquor and wine the whole time.
Okay.
Could you come up again, sir? I'm sorry. There's two stores. Do you represent 161 and Thomas J. 161 and Brian?
Yes, Thomas J. McAdam Liquors at 398 3rd. And the other one was 111 Lex Liquors.
All right, well.
And Asian Wine Inc.
Good, well, I'll just state this since I can't ask you. But two of the closest stores that have been with sales declining, everyone else has been sales going up, but two stores in particular, 161 and Brian Wine, have been declining and way before COVID. I wanted to ask why. Anyone here from those two stores?
Scott, could you address them?
They're not here, but I can address sales, because my sales were declining too. If you're.
What stores?
I'm sorry, I'm Thomas J. McAdam, and it's amazing to hear how many people here benefited from the pandemic, but our sales were down tremendously during the pandemic. And though they did come back a little bit last year, I'm still down 8%.
And to be honest with you, your neighborhood is one of the few in the state where that occurred.
And we're down 25%.
People fled the.
Correct. So we're down 25% in customer count. So our neighborhood has shrunk. People moved away. And the people that moved back in are a different customer base than those that moved away.
Yeah, but couldn't it also be attributed to just people changing their drinking habits? I mean, he's obviously specialized in wine. He more than doubled his numbers during the pandemic. There's something about what he's doing and the way he relates to his customers that's different from what everybody else.
He can address that. I can't speak to that. So.
Too.
Yeah, but.
All right, thank you.
Mr. LINET.
I think we submitted a lot prior, so I don't want to rehash anything that you don't want to dig into.
I mean, the one thing which he brought up, which was a question of mine, you say that your lease expired. Okay, but why not renew it?
So I had spoken to the landlord prior to COVID even starting to try and negotiate staying because I didn't want to move initially. Back and forth, COVID happened. I set out some terms. I don't think he was very happy with them. And then he just didn't get back to me. So we're looking at now 6 months or so, a year or so prior to the lease expiring. So I had to look for locations. I didn't want to leave the neighborhood. We've been there for a long time. And by the time I found a new lease, the landlord, of course, literally next week comes downstairs and is like, oh, I hear you're moving. So at that point, everything else was in motion. But my initial choice would have been to stay, but now we're moving. I mean, assuming we get the approval, but yeah.
And do you do internet sales a lot of?
Not really. We don't do a ton. We have a website, but a lot of these sales and a lot of this growth was actually working with New York producers. We do a ton of single barrel type production from Black Button upstate New York. We work with Kings County. We work with Van Brunt Stillhouse. We work with Fort Hamilton, close relationships with all the owners. And there's just a huge demand for even corporate gifting during the pandemic. Just people wanted something unique and they didn't want to gift everything that basically all these other stores cannibalize themselves. They all sell the same stuff. So we're not an Italian specialty store. We have not been for over 10 years in the time that I've been there. So they might be not have done their due diligence in the fact that there's been a new owner, me, for over 10 years. And we sell plenty of other products. I send plenty of customers their way because we don't sell Jim Beam, Grey Goose, Jack Daniels, Maker's Mark, Veuve Clicquot,
Do you buy
Tétanger.
most of your products from small producers, not the Empires and Southerns of the world?
Correct.
Okay.
Members ready to vote?
As I keep saying, I think moving to an avenue makes it more convenient.
But let me ask one question. Tom, the four closest are remaining the same. He's just going to be closer to some and further from others? And then, as council pointed out, closer to others that were not closer before.
That's what the examiner found out,
Okay.
yes.
And the store's not getting bigger, and he has a really good track record, so I really don't have a reason to say no. I totally understand the concern, and I get that you guys are all playing for the same customers here, but I'm going to vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford?
Using the same rationale as Commissioner Fan, and also because I think that the floor space is pretty much remaining the same, if not shrinking just a little bit. I'm going to vote to approve as well.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote to approve as well. His method of operation is clearly different than the closest stores. The four closest stores are remaining the same, although some will be further away than they were before and others will be closer. And it's clear that he has built a significant customer base in the neighborhood and is providing something that I think the neighborhood isn't getting from the rest of the liquor stores. So that's not only is location public convenience and advantage, but your method of operation as well. So I'm going to vote to approve. Thank you.
Good luck.
Can we take 5 minutes?
Yep. We're going to go on a brief recess. We'll be back on the record shortly.
Down the hall. Yeah. No, right here down the hall. What about?
No, there was a different store upstairs. But if you don't know, don't say what you're going to do. Oh, there's a apartment building going on. So we're saying it's 10% is posted like warehouses and everything. This is the other one. Yeah, it's not really important. Yeah. Right, well, that's fine. Yeah, but this is where the other store is. It's not important. That's good building.
Are you
Shopping center, the Wisconsin, you went on the Wisconsin highway that you guys were doing the alteration? Because there's a Coles there.
And that's where your son?
No, we had to run there to get supplies for his number.
Yeah, that was just.
And there was a lot of construction going on, so it must have been the Amazon bit.
Oh, yeah, the Amazon first.
Why would you do that? Like,
I don't know, they should have just sent it in. But
I know, but why? This
Yeah, I know.
proves his point. Like, what does this do?
I don't know what we, yeah.
That he has a bigger storefront? Like, what
Yeah.
does this show?
And I don't know what we're gonna do this.
I know. Do you want to keep that as part of the record, or would you want to
Just fold it up.
and keep it where?
But you know something, the great thing is, it's not my problem.
Yes, that's right.
He can take a picture of it and shrink it down with the phone.
We're trying to stop it.
These are yours.
What am I supposed to do with these?
I would tell you, but there's, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Because they don't, I don't, they either don't know the standard or that we don't listen to Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, I don't. No, the kills, it's just picking it up at other places, mine are all red.
Yep. White Castle today, Tom?
I'm gonna get some for the chairman.
Yeah.
Can't. I'm fasting today for my big medical procedure. Are you?
I'll buy him a hot dog at the vendor tomorrow.
I guess, Gary, are you there still? Gary? Yep, okay. All right, we're back on the record after a brief recess. Next is 868 Ellen's Wines and Spirits, LLC.
Hi, my name's Jasleen Carr. I'm an attorney for Ellen's Wines and Spirits LLC, DBA Ellen's Wines and Spirits. Today, my client's here with me, Debbie Ellen Jones. There is opposition.
Good morning. Robert Swetnick for opposition. With me are representatives of Stop and Buy Liquors, Drink Wine and Liquors, and Seneca. Basically, it's on Metropolitan Ave.
Drink and who?
Drink. The other one is, let me just look it up
And the
here.
last one is?
Seneca, which is not on your lamp report, but is, I think it is the fourth or fifth closest. It doesn't show up as being number 7 or 8, so somehow it's not in your system.
What's your address?
What's your address?
692 Seneca Avenue, Ridgewood.
I don't know, you have additional opposition?
Additional opposition.
Okay, and there's additional opposition too. I guess I'll speak first on our opposition. This is on Metropolitan Avenue, very, very commercial street. Basically, with our submission we showed you, it's substantially all warehouses in that area. Where the closest liquor store is literally not only on Metropolitan Avenue, but on the same block. There's no intersecting streets. There's one store, the two closest stores are both on Metropolitan, so on the same block as this store. One is 1,000 feet away, one is 2,500 feet away. The closest liquor store opened up just about a year ago. So it's really had no time to build its business or a track record.
Which one was that?
That is Drink. I'm getting it right.
We have that as open since 2014. Is that incorrect?
License.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're telling me they just transferred it?
Right.
Okay.
He bought it, well, he bought it then.
Okay, yeah. So
So
the
that's what he-
store's been there for 8
Right,
years.
but that's his opportunity to try to build a business.
Got
I also note that in the figures we gave you, we noted that the Stop and Buy liquor store shows a significant increase in sales last year, but that's because the one where Drink was closed. So before that store got sold, it was closed. So I guess happily for him, all those stores, all those customers went over to Stop and Buy. He says he's here, he can testify, but that since then, his numbers have gone back to the pre-pandemic numbers when the Drink, Wine, and Liquors was still open. This is not an area which is growing. In fact, it's an area where the residents and population is slightly decreasing. There's no need for additional liquor store in this area. The ones that are there are struggling by, they don't really have an increase in sales, other than that one period where one of the stores was physically closed for a period of time before it got sold. The closest stores, again, are on within 1,000 feet and 2,500 feet on the exact same street with no intersecting streets. And would obviously be direct competition and not supplying the community with any benefit, because this is an area of predominantly warehouses where people get in their cars and they're getting the workers who are the ones who are stopping to buy there. And I have nothing else at this point.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fan, that Seneca Avenue Liquors is 1.2 miles. That's why it's not on the list.
Hi, good afternoon. Joseph Levy here in support of my client, the Rooster Group LLC at Star Wines, the second closest store.
You may remember that we actually appeared in Albany to get my client Fabrizio's license for this liquor store on Valentine's Day in 2020 with him and his very pregnant wife. And this is a brand new store. This is not a store that was purchased from an existing operation. So he's sort of built this store from the ground up. They opened their doors officially in March of 2020. I don't have to tell you guys what else happened in March of 2020. So needless to say, for the first few years of operation, he hasn't really been in a stable situation. The climate has been changing pretty dramatically, obviously, since he opened in March of 2020, and now he's finally feels like he's getting his legs under him.
Which is your store again, Mr. Levy? You represent?
This is Star Wines, the Rooster Group LLC. That's the second closest. So as Mr.
Your address is technically in Brooklyn, so aren't you sort of serving a different clientele here?
Well, it's a good question, and his street specifically, one side of the street is considered Bushwick, the other side of the street is considered Ridgewood. So it's actually pretty close. Fabrizio, my client who's here today, he actually lives in this community as well, so he knows it not only from working there, but from living there and raising a family there. As you've heard, the two of the closer stores are on that same block that the proposed applicant is looking to put their store. Another fact that is concerning to my client is that the store that's being proposed here is roughly twice the retail footprint of the other stores in the neighborhood. They seem to range between 500 to 800 square feet of retail space. The store being proposed is about 1,200 feet per the application. Fabrizio, my client, again, who's here today, comes from a hospitality background, has owned restaurants, and he has built his store to focus on small batch, small production, wine focused, focusing a lot on food pairings, things like that. And as you've heard already, this neighborhood appears to be pretty reasonably served by the existing stores. And again, this is a very much a developing neighborhood, not a fully developed neighborhood already. And as you heard from Mr. Swetnick, this is, while it is part of the 5 boroughs, it's not the walking neighborhood that maybe a Williamsburg might be. This is a place where people get in their cars and go somewhere, they get on their bikes and go somewhere. And that's it for me.
Remind me, your client also run a restaurant? Or no?
He did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was part of the impetus for this, is that, you know, he curated the wine program, he curated the drink program, and he wanted to bring that to the retail side of things.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We respectfully disagree that there is no material impact on the other liquor stores in this particular area, as there's an increase in population and there's an increase in demand. Specifically, the population growth of this area is a 7% increase from 2010 to 2020. And we provided that in our submission. Other zip code 11385 is the second most populated zip code in New York based on the World Population Review. Alcohol sales have continued to go up even during the COVID time. Specifically, as the gross sales, we saw that some of the liquor stores did do significantly well. Additionally, we'd like to point out that there are new developments in this area. Myrtle Point Project 3-50 St. Nicholas Avenue, Queens, New York, 11385. Is a new development, which is the tallest building in Queens, and it's going to be adding 133 residential apartments and is 1.5 miles away from the proposed premise. Additionally, the Strand, 18-81 Star Street, Ridgewood, New York, 11385, also will be adding 130 residential apartments and is 0.3 miles from the proposed premises. We'd also like to point out that the vision that my client has is a different business model, and it's also a different method of operations as to which type of wines she's securing. Specifically, I'd like to bring your attention to her to talk about her vision, which talks about 20% inventory, which is dedicated to New York wineries and spirits, and 80% representing minorities, females, and family-owned organic and biodynamic wineries and distilleries. What her vision is specifically to bring to this growing community.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. And thank you for coming and sharing your oppositions, your issues, and also concerns. Several years ago, I lived on Ainsley Street. I visited...
I'm sorry, can you just speak up a little bit?
Yes. Several years ago, I lived on Ainsley Street, and I frequent Ridgewood a lot. And over the last few years, the area of Ridgewood has blossomed. This is one of the reasons why I selected Ridgewood to open this store. Ridgewood has a growing population of the last few years, and an additional wine and spirit store is needed to keep up with the growing demand of the population. Ellen's Wine and Spirits will focus on a few core concepts: supporting the local community, supporting minority, women and family-owned organic and biodynamic distilleries and wineries, and to give back to the community. Ellen's will have we have received many letters of support from the neighbors, office buildings, and people who live in Ridgewood to support the opening of Ellen's Wines and Spirits.
And specifically, you went through the locations.
Specifically, thank you, I went through and visited all of these wine and liquor stores in this area, all 5 of them. And I have noticed that they have a different method, they have a different inventory that I would like to highlight, and a different way of business. I do not want to carry large, big name brands. I want to focus on organics, biodynamics. I want to focus on minority-owned, also female-owned, and family-owned wineries and distilleries. 20% of my inventory will represent New York as a whole, including wines and including spirits. This is not offered in other wine and liquor shops in this area. The other 80% of my inventory will focus on, pardon me, the other 80% of my inventory will focus on minority-owned, female-owned, kosher, organic, biodynamic, and also local products. I believe in making a store that is very customer-oriented and very easy to use. A lot of people think that wine and spirits are very intimidating. I would like to make a store that is easy to use for the beginner and also the advanced.
And based on her background, which you would like to, your educational background,
Yes.
you'd like
Can
to
I just
provide
ask you a
that.
question?
Yes,
In
miss.
in your submission, I just want to clarify this. You're committing to not selling products that's on the shelf of the closest 5 stores? Is that right?
That is correct. So if somebody, for example, wants Robert Mondavi, I would point them to their liquor store.
Not planning on the big.
I am not planning on
Well,
adding.
but I'm asking you if you're actually committing to not selling the SKUs that are on their shelves right now.
That is correct.
Okay. And so if they give you a list of what's on their shelves, you are
That is
not going to sell it?
correct. Yes.
Okay.
And then-
Why this location?
This location, because I used to live very close by, and I really enjoy the area of Ridgewood. Over the last few years, I have noticed that the area has blossomed and become a really wonderful neighborhood. Also, because of the growing population, I believe that there needs to be another wine and spirits store that needs to keep up with the demand of the growing population. I also have a very specific vision with supporting minority, women-owned, and family-run establishments. I want to represent organic, biodynamic, and dedicate 20% of my inventory to New York products, wine and spirit.
Okay. Are you ready to vote?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, if we're ready to vote, Commissioner Fan?
May I just briefly say something?
Sure.
Yes.
I would just note that this store is directly in the middle of 2 other stores on the exact same street, and very close. And also, if you look at the photos of the 2 stores that are closest, which we've attached, you will see that this is basically an industrial area.
Yeah, I get it, but again, you have to really look at the map and where she is. She's really on the corner of Metropolitan and Flushing Avenue, which make her a very convenient location.
That's no more convenient than the other stores, which are very close. Also, any of them, if a customer comes in and wants a product, that they will, basically, they want to service their customer, they will order that product. So it's very nice to say that there's going to be a whole different line of products, but if there is any product that a customer wants, these stores will fulfill that request and provide that product, because that's their objective.
If I may.
I understand.
No? Okay.
All right, Commissioner.
Go ahead. Hi, in regards to her having biodynamic or natural wines, we all carry those things. So she wouldn't really be having any kind of public advantage or a new inventory that we don't have.
Well, if you're carrying it, it sounds like Commissioner Fan, should she vote for it, is going to say she can't carry it. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
But I don't, I get that everybody carries biodynamic and organic. She sounds like she plans on only carrying that, which is different. But, okay, thank you.
Didn't she mention it would be only 20% of her inventory, those type of things?
I heard 80. I mean, I heard 100, but it's just.
The 20% was for New York products.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
one more
Commissioner
thing.
Fan, or do you want to hear from Joseph?
No, I think we're
as well? Commissioner Fan.
Clearly, you've gained a lot of experience and respect as a sommelier, and I am pleasantly impressed by the coverage that you have knowledge of New Zealand cuisine and you have knowledge of Asian cuisine, and you're clearly a productive member of society. I want to support you in your endeavor. However, obviously, the area is saturated and there's a lot of competition, and so I'm going to hold you to not selling the SKUs that are on the shelves of the closest 5 stores. The rest of it, I'm going to let you run your business because you know more than I do. I'm going to vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford.
For those reasons and the fact that you've committed to be specific about what you're going to sell, to be not what the other stores are selling, I will vote to approve as well.
Approve with the no SKUs from the existing stores, correct? And
Yes, no SKUs from the existing stores. They can submit the list
Yeah,
somehow.
I would suggest, just for maybe compliance purposes, that these licensees let us know what they're selling now. Well, but I mean, we already do, so.
Yes.
So that other products can't be added and then cause problems later on.
I'm going to vote to deny, having nothing to do, obviously, with your expertise or your experience. But this gentleman, I do remember him, and he has, while I don't think he's a sommelier, he does have similar experience and provides similar experience in his store to what you're planning on providing. So I do vote to deny.
all right,
Thank
so
you.
you're approved.
Yeah.
Did you
What's
want
your
to say?
information?
I would have,
Can I make
Go
a,
ahead, Gary. Hold on. Go ahead, Gary.
can I make a suggestion that are we now going to assemble a list of what they can and can't sell?
I would suggest that these licensees submit a list to the Secretary's office of their current inventory, so that and then we can supply that to the applicant so they'll know what they're not allowed to sell.
Right, and I believe that the inventory list should be backed up by receipts or records showing purchases in the last few years of those products, because it shouldn't be fair that they expand it beyond what they're actually selling when they present their list.
I agree.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I agree, but just let's not create a humongous amount of work for
Yeah.
these.
And then what's going to
people.
happen
Please don't dump
when
it
we
in the
report that
Secretary's
they're
office
selling
also.
something?
What was that?
What happens when we report that they're selling something that we sell?
You make
Then
you
you
make a
Violate the
complaint.
condition of the license.
The
I know,
Enforcement
but
Bureau
we
has
know what that means.
complaints.
What I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is that it sounds good, but becomes toothless, because it'll take a great deal of time till someone investigates it. Then you'll have a charge, then someone will say, we'll take it down, and
Then they get fined.
Look, she's standing here. This is all on record.
I know it.
This
You
has
know,
happened
it's,
And it's
before.
already
look,
been
it's
passed.
just it's
We-
based on trust. This is how this works. You know, you guys are neighbors. We're not there. And so
You
if
also-
she decides to do something that's not appropriate, I imagine all of these store owners would just go to her and say, hey, this was on our list. And, she's a respectable person. I assume that she's not lying to us just to get the license. So if it becomes a problem, you can call Donald.
No, well, look, just let me, it's Gary. Don't assume that we won't enforce the method of operation that a license requires. We do it routinely. If you have a complaint about a competitor violating the method of operation, you send it to us and we'll investigate. We do suggest that you try to work it out first, because I think this is, I agree with Commissioner Finn, it's something that you should be able to handle, but this is what we do. We enforce our method of operations that we impose routinely, and we fine and sometimes cancel licenses for repeat violations. So that's how I suggest you proceed.
I just have one point of clarification on the stipulation, and I agree with everything you said. We'll get that stuff in, and I know in the past what we've done is we've had to provide POs that predate the board meeting to ensure that that's all in line, and we're happy to comply with that. My point of clarification with regard to the stipulation is I know you said no SKUs that anyone carries. What about the other representations that were made by the applicant with respect to 20% New York and things like that? Were those incorporated or not?
No,
Just
I did
curious.
not say that, and it's not incorporated.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is 854 Flatiron Wines, Inc.
Number?
Everybody wants a liquor.
854.
854.
I don't.
It's just the wrong business.
I don't.
Oh, this is a move. Oh, hi.
Hello. This is, my name is Elke Hoffman, and with me is Natasha Ament, the principal of Flatiron Wines.
Who is Jeff Patton?
Jeff Patton is Natasha's husband.
Oh, okay.
So he recently sold a store and was helping her fill out the application, hence the notice of appearance. He's not an officer in the company.
And Stephanie Cohan is your partner?
Exactly. I don't
Why
know.
are you guys moving?
It's a very similar situation to the earlier one today. The lease is expiring, the 10 years is up. The lease expires August 31st, 2022. This is a move of it's about 800 feet down on Broadway.
But once again, you missed the important part. It's expiring. Why isn't she renewing it?
They've tried.
Yeah, we tried. The
Come to the mic,
landlord.
please.
Thank you. The landlord has indicated for some time that he's interested in a national tenant. So we've been working very hard to find the right size space that will still serve our customers in the neighborhood who have become quite reliant on Flatiron Wines.
In fact, this is, as the record shows, this is the second location. They were in negotiations for another space that also fell through. So this is actually the second removal application filed because it has been a difficult real estate market. They remain the only store on Broadway between 8th Street and 59th. In fact, it's about 800 feet further down Broadway. I don't know if there's opposition, whether we needed to let anybody.
Is there opposition here? No.
Okay.
We did get one letter. I think the letter was
I think it was from-
indicative that it appeared they thought this was a new store.
And I think that was, it was.
Why is this a $200,000 move?
This is, they're renovating the store entirely.
store.
And there's a mezzanine area to allow for a tasting area. It is a full renovation of a nice.
All right, I
store.
don't know, but this is in my hood, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we're
gonna vote
very
to-
excited.
I'm going to vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford.
I vote to approve as well.
And Chairman Bradley.
I'll vote to approve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Next is 912A. That's the request for declaratory ruling. Amazon advertising.
Good afternoon. Robert Skeen from Skeen Law Firm, appearing for my client, Amazon.com, Inc., in our request for a declaratory ruling regarding certain advertising issues. I fully realize that what we're doing here is asking the authority to revisit its longstanding interpretations of the Tide House laws, including the Riga decision holdings. But I also would like to emphasize that we're asking the authority to do so in the context of my client's specific structure, where they have bifurcated and separated as much as reasonably possible the retail arm from any advertising arm. Again, I can't really.
What does that mean? I mean, they're selling wine on their website and other things.
They're
So
selling.
you're not going to do any of the advertising on the website?
Yes, no advertising website. This is all on the Amazon streaming service. I believe they own a couple right now. They also have, I believe, in negotiations with the NFL to start having Major League Football games. There's nothing to do with Whole Foods or Amazon Go. There'll be no advertising in those venues at all. This is only on their streaming services that they would be taking manufacturing advertising, as they will take anybody else's advertising. It's going to be arm's length.
You say
arm's
streaming, you
length.
mean like Prime Video?
Exactly.
That kind of?
I believe they may have Hulu, things, those kinds of services.
They have baseball games now, so it'd be like commercials and stuff.
I'm not much of a sports fan, so I don't really watch a lot of that, but I do know that they do have advertising on these things, which is.
You do sports stadiums and you don't watch sports?
No, I don't. I know who does the food concessionaires, but I've had too many other interests to be bothered with that. I can't really argue that why you should do it. I think that's obvious, whether you want to or not. My brief that we submitted really argues how you can do it without change of law. And I believe the Riga case is not all that relevant here, because Riga only spoke of actual ownership interests, equity interests, and it did not talk about any business dealings and their holdings of no de minimis exceptions and indirect and indirect interests really we're geared towards the equity interests, and it really was silent on the issues of business interests. And what we're talking about here is arm's length, business relationships, business dealings that a retailer, a company that happens to have retail licenses could be doing with any other type of manufacturer. And we also pointed out how, again, it's not lost on me of the authority's previous interpretation of 101A and 101C. So we are fully cognizant that we're asking for a revisit to this interpretation, where the issue becomes in 101A would be of the fact that by any other means, I think, is the key, and direct and indirect. We would argue that on behalf of Amazon, that 101A should only be applied to actual equity interests or debt interests and not business relationships. Again, you have that language of by any other means, which is, again, we argue can be broadly interpreted by the authority. The other issue we have is, of course, 101C, gifts or service restrictions. And here we would argue that there is neither gift nor service, that this statute speaks of things that are not done on a arm's length, fair market value basis, that there would be gift or service in a manufacturer contracting with Amazon.com to have its advertisements on its streaming services. And again, no advertisements would go to be in the actual retail establishments. And we've provided a structure. We're getting back to 101C. The authority does have discretion here as well, statutory discretion, in that if it believes, if it lends to believe that it would influence a retailer's decision. And here we have showed how, as best we can, that, I'm echoing here, that Amazon has a bifurcation in place where the advertisement activities are going to be much distinct and separate from any of the other activities, particularly with the Amazon markets and Whole Foods, and they only really connect at the second level below, directly below the publicly traded level, which is Amazon.com Sales, Inc. Again, we cannot get beyond the fact that everything will eventually flow up to the top. That is that is evident. We wish we could figure something out, but unfortunately we can't. But we do have a system so that there will be as much in place as possible to make the authority comfortable that this relationship, any relationships that Amazon may have with advertisers for its streaming services, will have no influence on what products Whole Foods or Amazon Go will be selling in New York.
Okay. Could I have a moment with council, please?
How?
You'll
have to go into the
room and I'll call him.
Well, why don't we wait? Because I think Commissioner Fan had already talked to me and asked to put this over. And are you still of the same?
Yes.
But since you were here, I wasn't going to waste your time.
Okay.
Is anybody else here to speak about this? No. So what we're going to do is put this over for 2 weeks. You're welcome to come back. You don't have to. Because I've heard enough. But she obviously has questions and she wants to talk to our lawyer.
Sure, I understand.
And I
this
think
is a
this is a,
it's a big one. It's not.
Well, I don't know if it's a big one, but it's certainly
it is for Amazon.
It's a change.
No,
it's
it's a
a change in policy. That's for sure.
No,
And I understand the
we
slippery.
certainly understand where you come from and why the changes are necessary. I just need more time and, you know, as you know, there's a task force that's supposed to look at all of these things that's pending. And there's going to be a lot more stakeholders that participate in that process. And that I think perhaps you'll be happier with the result at that point.
Sure, I fully understand it.
Thank you for submitting this, and I think that the experience of Amazon and the reach of the company and its needs really will change the way we look at how these rules are, and so let's continue the conversation.
The world has changed dramatically since the Riga decision.
Hugely, and this is all making common sense. We just need to figure out how to.
We all want to stay away from the evil of Tide House. The Tide House evil, that is something that's real. But in the business context of these multinational companies, it becomes a very not an issue. It's not why they want to do it.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. But
okay,
we'll figure this out.
Thank you very much.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Thank you.
You're okay with that, right?
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Next is 880. That's HYUN 32 Inc.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Samuel An. I'm the attorney for the applicant, the licensee. Next to me is Anna Lee. She's the owner of the restaurant. And next to her is her husband, who's just here for support. This is a request for reconsideration based on the previous denial of extended hours. The licensee has been only there for a short time. Closing at 10 o'clock has been very difficult for her during COVID. And she is requesting a time extension. Initially, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. Now
To go from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock?
Yes, but now she's reduced the time to 2 o'clock. If it's, the board members could consider 2 o'clock as being a time.
Remind me why she got 10 o'clock. Is that
She
that
got-
history there?
Yeah, she got 10 o'clock because her primary business is a restaurant, udon noodle soup restaurant.
That's what she told us she was going to do, 8
Yeah,
o'clock, right?
what had happened was, board members, is that after that, COVID and all that, the restaurant closed down. I mean, not the restaurant, the hotel that's right next to it closed down, and business been miserable. And so she's getting
Crown
ready.
Plaza closed?
Yeah, the hotel closed.
Hotel.
This
I
would
thought there
be,
was a Crown Plaza there.
no, this was on 32nd Street. This would, Stanford Hotel.
That's the middle of the street or closer to H Mart?
This is closer to H Mart.
Closer to H Mart is closed.
Yes.
The one
And
across
what
the
are you
street.
going to do what's the plan to do from 10 to 4 a.m. or a.m. now?
No, well, she's a restaurant. This is a udon noodle soup restaurant.
I know, I
So
understand
they're
that,
go-
but it's
they're
not
go-
like there's a rush at 1:30 or 1 o'clock at night for
You
For
haven't
noodles.
seen Korean people
This is on 32nd.
That's my concern.
No, this is 32nd Street. What happens is that you have a lot of traffic and people do look for meals around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
You haven't been out with Commissioner Kim.
Commissioner, so this is a very highly trafficked area, and in their premises, they only have one bar that sits about 11 people. They're not going to look for alteration, and this premises is a small premise that only occupies about 50, 55 people.
Members, it's 10 PM because that's what was in the application.
That's what she asked for.
It wasn't, you didn't impose 10 PM?
Yeah.
The application said they would open until 10 PM. So you just went along with that?
We just realized that because of COVID and the rent payments, we're asking for this opportunity to extend our hours.
All right, I'm ready.
So on the request for reconsideration, Commissioner
I'll
Fan,
vote yes.
Commissioner Ford,
I will vote yes on reconsideration as well.
Chairman.
I'll vote yes as well.
Then on the application,
I'm okay with 2 AM.
and Commissioner Ford.
2 AM.
Chairman
Century
Brown.
I was at 1 AM, but it's 2 AM. Good luck.
Just remember, the chef has to be there until 2 AM.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members of the board.
Thank you.
All right, next is 870, MANARIYA Wine and Liquor Inc.
So this is one of these where they applied, but they're not going to be there. They're moving. So you're not going to see.
Right, and they haven't bought the store yet, right?
Right, you're not going to see these coming to you anymore this way.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Henry Warakomsky. This is a two-fold application. One is for a transfer, and then
It's actually one fold. We have one application in
Yeah.
front of us, and it's to remove a store that your clients don't own yet.
no, but they have a contract to buy the business.
But the transfer hasn't been approved by us.
I know.
Well, so you're asking us to grant the request of somebody that's asking to move a store that they don't even have the right to move right now.
I know, this is so.
You have the
so
apple
not
before the
fair.
cart.
Well, part of the problem is that this is how licensing was.
I never got one like this.
Yeah, not one that they don't already.
Because as I found out, I don't think you were told about transfer. It was coming to you just as a removal.
Okay, go ahead.
No, both applications were filed at the same time.
No, you're not getting the point, okay? The point is, you're filing a transfer application.
Right.
To buy a place, you have your client has no intention of getting a license out, so you can move someplace else.
Yes.
So what's before the members right now is the removal application, because the transfer doesn't have to come before the board. We could approve it now and tell you, okay, do you want your license? And my guess is you're gonna say no.
Go ahead.
We have opposition.
Oh, there's opposition? Is there opposition?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
let them
there's
go.
a lot of opposition, because. Who do you represent?
I represent one of the closest store, Pramuk 2294 Liquors Inc.
Okay.
My name is Neil Trivedi. I am an attorney representing Pramuk 2294 Liquors Inc. The proposed location does not offer any public convenience or advantage to have another location in an already saturated town of East Meadow. In the town of East Meadow, there are already 7 active licenses within a span of 1.5 miles. Adding another store is good, just
Not
going.
adding another one, though.
Well, not adding it, but already an active 7 licenses that are.
But the
there.
one is gonna go inactive and another one's gonna be active. You're gonna be at 7 still.
I understand. There's already a 7 store. This store that they're trying to relocate was already closed down due to COVID and hasn't opened since COVID.
They don't have a lease. The lease expired.
Okay. So,
And they can't get it renewed.
okay.
At least that's what the applicant is saying.
Well, my client, most of the locations have easy access to the parking lot. Every locations, every other stores in the neighborhood have parking lots. The current location that they're planning to move, there's a convenience store next to it, which I did the lease for the convenience store. It's only two stores in that complex. My client has about 15 to 20 stores in that retail establishment. Also, my client bought the store in July of 2021, knowing that the other store was already closed down or may shut down. So he doesn't have enough time in order to determine whether or not there has been an increase of sale or a decrease. Obviously, during COVID, there were increase in sales, but since then, all the other locations have opened up. Business has been normal in some ways and has gone back to its a way of doing business. Again, the store that they're proposing is about 1,500 feet away, which is basically a walking distance. Again, it's on a Hempstead Turnpike on the same direction, which is going eastbound. They're also the closed store that you're mentioning about was about 700 to 800 square feet. The one that they're being proposed is about 3,000 square feet. I think that double the size or the triple the size would make a difference in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
With regard to the population of East Meadow, the current population of East Meadow is around 38,029 people since 2019. There hasn't been any increase or decrease in the population. And since 2010, the population has decreased 0.27%. There hasn't been any new development proposed or any other land available for any community to grow. Also, the East Meadow, there are about 12,690 units of housing. This is 1.2% down from last year. I do have other people in the neighborhood who will also are objecting as well.
So Meadow Wine and Liquor 1 is closed, is that right?
I believe the Hempstead,
The one that's at 293 East Meadow Avenue, do you know anything about that one? They went out of business.
Okay.
293 East Meadow Avenue is out of business? Yes. So now you have 6 stores, not 7, within this.
Right.
How many people here do you represent?
Just one, Pramuk 2294.
Okay, come
Who are
up.
the other stores?
Come up.
that are here?
Whoever is not represented by him, come up. One at a time. Put
Good
your name on
afternoon.
the record and be brief.
Sure. Good afternoon, respected board members. I'm from New Cheers Inc., East Meadow Wine and Spirits. We as a family business already, as you know, struggling from the companies like Total Wine, and in the same East Meadow, we have a very big store, which is 2 LINETs called Ryan Wines. It's also a big firm-owned business. We are already being hit by their competition. We have to sell very.
What's your address?
481 New Bridge Road, sir.
Got it. Why didn't you respond to the sales?
I did.
We didn't get it.
I did. I sent an email to Mr. Henry's email address.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Are you bulletproof or not bulletproof?
No, we are not bulletproof. It's an open store. And as you can go to even Google and check the review of our store, that we serve the community very well, parking lot, and we have all types of wines, liquors, and our pricing also, we do match with Total Wine and stuff because we have to, otherwise we will be out of business. And since we are a family-owned business, having another store, which is 3,000 square feet, will definitely put guys like us out of business and hard to survival, where there are companies like Total Wine, Stu Leonard, and Stu Leonard is only within a mile difference from our stores already. We are already being hit by Total.
Everyone keeps saying it's 3,000 square feet, but the basement here is not being licensed. Am I correct in that?
Correct.
So the store is actually 2,000 square feet.
Yes, even if it's 2,000.
And I'm sure they'll get a warehouse permit for the basement, but
Yeah.
just to be clear, go
Yes,
ahead.
sure, sir. Even the 2,000 square feet, let's say the license they are trying to move it was only 800 or 1,000 square feet. So doubling that store and moving it from the original location is way far than permitted by the SLA. That was everything. And especially to me, basically the store which they're trying to move is on the west side of the Hampstead Turnpike. When they'll move that store, it'll come right in the middle of my store and the gentleman's store, which is very close to him. It's a walking distance from the current store, which he bought it last
You're
year.
still going to be a mile away from him.
It's going to be right in the middle.
Right, but you're going to, regardless, it's going to be a mile, approximately a mile.
Approximately like 0.8, 0.7, something like that.
All right, we have a lot of people here.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for listening.
Next.
Hi, good afternoon, sir. My name is Harbhajan Baidwan. My store in Levittown. From this location, like in
What's the address?
AG7 Wine and Liquor, 172B Gardens Avenue, is off the Hampstead Turnpike, behind the King Column.
About how far from this location?
Around 2 miles.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We have so many stores like in this area. We can.
But you're 2 miles from this location. How far were you from the store that's now closed?
From my store, one is like less than quarter mile. Other side on the north side.
So this store's you're 2 miles away from where they want to go.
Yeah.
Well, what's better, to have them where they were or where they want to go? For
No, I heard they're opening like big store.
It is bigger. It's not big. All right, go ahead.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kamaljeet Singh. My store is 2685 North Jerusalem, East Meadow, and very small store, family business, like 900
So
square
wait,
feet.
how far are you away from the
Like-
current store?
Like approximately 1.5 mile.
Okay. And how far are you going to be from where they want to go?
I heard like they're moving to other place to little bigger.
2440 Hempstead Turnpike.
Yes.
How far is that from your store?
Like 1.5.
Same distance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because where is my store is, there is a lot of like very close stores, like opposite side, and there is back of the street, So my store is very small, like I'm already like a, slow business, like 900 square foot my store is.
I'm not following what you're worried about, though. He's still the same distance from you.
Just on the other side.
It's just going to be somewhat, the retail space is actually going to be smaller than the old store. So, I mean, you're basically saying that this store that already exists doesn't have a right to exist? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Because nothing's changing, except he's going to be in a different location, which will be the same distance from you, and presumably will have a different owner.
Okay, but the space is look like a more bigger than before?
The retail space is actually smaller. It's going to be 300 feet smaller. The store will be maybe 600 feet bigger.
Okay. But still, like affecting like the business, Still like,
I'm trying to figure out how. That's what I'm asking you. How are you going to be affected by this store?
because it's the same direction,
So you expect their sales to increase from the other store because of that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next? Come on up. You already spoke, right? Yes. Who else is back here? You're not, nobody wants to speak? Oh, all right, go ahead, sir. You can, whatever you got to say, go ahead, last word.
Sorry about that. Regarding the question being asked by from the gentleman, I think he didn't understand the question when you said that store is getting more closer to him, is the same distance. It's definitely getting closer to all of us because it was on the, as I explained before, it was on the west, more of the west side of the town before. Now it's coming more towards the east side of the town. So we are all in the east side, because on the west side is the
But
Stulan.
you're a mile and a half away. He's only moving 0.4 miles. Not you, but the last guy that spoke.
Yeah.
He's still going to be over a mile away. In a
close-
driving community?
Close to mile, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay,
Close
I
to
got-
mile.
I
Yeah,
understand.
because the point I was trying to make is, because the more he would move to west, because already in the west, we have two Leonards, which is one of the biggest chains. So that's why coming to the east is gonna affect small businesses. Going to the west is gonna be the competition with
But
two.
my point is, you're living in a driving community, and all these stores are within 2 miles of each other.
Yes, sir.
Do you think anyone is going to, if they think they can get a better price, not go the extra mile in their car? Or if they can get whatever they want that somebody else may not have, they're going to drive that mile.
They are definitely like, for example, you're right, actually, people are going to the two Leonards and Total Wine by driving because they are giving it away
So
almost.
I'm trying to figure out what's going to change here, other than he is going to be closer to some stores, no question.
Yes. So what's changed going to be there is that existing store was not,
It was still within driving distance, 2 minutes driving distance.
Yes.
Moving 0.4 miles.
Yes, moving 0.4 miles, but that 0.4 miles bring that stores closer to 3 other stores.
Right, but you're in a car.
Yes, sir. You're right. Yes, you're right. We are in the car.
I understand what you're
Yes.
saying. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for listening.
So the current location and the proposed location are both on the west side of New Bridge Road, is that correct? Am I looking at the map correct?
West side, Hempstead Turnpike.
Why don't we let the applicant, go ahead.
On the west side of it, yes.
West side of,
West side of Hampstead Turnpike.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my application. I would like to begin by stating that I have conducted some research, including the review of the most recent board meeting. And based on my findings, I would like to bring light to the fact that I'm not intending on.
I'm now confused. You are the applicant?
Yes.
And who is this gentleman?
So he is Jeff. So, and I have hired
He's
him.
nodding, he's what?
I have hired a market analysis consultant, Jeff, and he's
Oh, Jeff,
here
okay.
to support. Yes. So based on my findings, I would like to bring light to the fact that I'm not intending on oversaturating the market with adding another store, because I'm applying for a removal application and not a new application. With that
I
said,
know, but you heard the fact that there is a store close by that closed down, right? Like,
so I can show this in the exhibit A. So this is the Hampstead Turnpike, and this is where the location, the proposed location is. And we are only 0. Let me just show this on another one. So this is, yeah, you can just
So
explain
basically,
this
the
one for
original
me.
store is 2230 Hempstead Turnpike. We're moving to 2440 Hempstead Turnpike, which is actually further from the original location, from the nearest competition, and over a mile away from the next second closest competition on New Bridge Road. Additionally, the retail sales in this area under CoStar research shows $55 million in 2021 for retail alcohol sales, projected to increase in 2022 by $20 million, which is a 36% increase in growth.
What are you
in sales.
basing that, what are you basing that on?
So I'm a market analyst for Newmark, and I do investment sales. I do
No, but what are you basing it on? The population clearly in this area is not
Right,
increasing.
projections from CoStar, which is the #1 database in the U.S. for commercial real estate information, based upon broker input and institutional input.
And what area are you talking about? What?
The East Meadow submarket specifically. So it's going from 55 million to 75 million, projection increase in 2022.
Have you looked at
alcohol sales?
Yeah, have you looked at the sales of these
alcohol
close, have you looked at the sales of these closest stores?
Yes.
I mean,
And-
that would be, at least within the last 5 years,
$75
astronomical.
million? I don't think they would be standing here if there's $75 million in the pie.
We have brochures that support that if you'd like to see the brochure. It's CoStar is a national, the information is from CoStar. It's deemed to be.
I mean, I would love to hear about your methodology, but I'm just not
No, not
sure
right now,
if
no.
that- No, not right now, no.
My point is, why lose retail sales and tax dollars outside of the market?
Go ahead, ma'am.
But it's all consumption, right? It also, like, if those people live there and then go to a bar and spend money, that's also included in your
It's total-
75
it's
million
total
in theory?
consumable sales.
Okay, but
So
that's,
in that submarket, it's 1.3 billion total consumable sales, of which the number one sale is alcohol.
I mean, I read yesterday, everybody, in the pandemic, we're drinking 45 million more cases, but that's like not relevant in this context.
Well, it's just showing, it's counteracting the population discussion, that the population is not increasing. The sales are increasing, and that's most relevant in a retail analysis.
I get it.
Very expert.
I would like to point, I'm sorry.
Tom, can you look at the other application and tell me what the financials are on that? Because this is only showing 82,000, which presumably is just the rent and the renovation.
That's part of the problem, is that we don't have, they're not in the system. And some of them things we don't ask for because of this assumption that they're not going to be there. So there may be, let me check to see if we have the contract of sale in this file.
Okay.
Oh, yes, we do. Okay. So you want the purchase of the existing?
Yeah, because it's not disclosed here.
All right. It's 65,000.
Oh, it is disclosed here. Okay. Got it.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I would like to point out a few of the advantages of your approval in the proposed location. This store is the closest retail space available to a Stop and Shop and a Walmart superstore. And there are only 4 Walmarts in all of the Nassau County, and this specific one is the second largest of all 4. So this, along with the many other national stores, puts the proposed location within a few steps from virtually every convenience imagined. This location is not only accessible to 54,000 cars that drive by on Hampstead Turnpike daily, but also an additional 26,000 cars that drive by on New Bridge Road daily.
Can I interject?
Yes.
There are curb cuts as you travel east from on Hempstead Turnpike that allow you to go directly into our new location. And the new location has a curb cut itself. So you're picking up 26,000 cars on New Bridge Road, plus the 54,000 Hempstead Turnpike traveling east. So you're getting more accessibility, helping the consumer.
Okay.
This is a diverse retail location that allows me the opportunity to explore my passion for New York and Long Island wines. And finally, this location is only 10 minutes away from my home.
Where did you get the passion for New York and Long Island wines? Because I don't see anything here in at least in your application that would indicate that you've been involved with them before or with this industry before.
My husband, he had a store before. He doesn't have the store anymore. So I used to go.
What happened to that store?
He sold the store.
When was that?
On May 12th, 2022.
How long did he have it?
This month?
For 2 years.
He had it for 2 years?
Yes.
Where was it?
In Queens, in Woodhaven, Queens County.
Has he had a store before that?
No.
Have you had a store before?
No.
Why did he sell his store in Queens? It's like almost impossible to get a new store in Queens.
I think it's a good question for him.
Is he here?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, tell him, have him come up.
Hi, my name is Manpreet.
Why'd you sell your store?
Because it's too far for me to like 27, 30 miles from my home to the Queens. Because my
It's
kids
too
are small.
far. It wasn't too far when you came and applied for it. Or did you move?
I just moved from Philadelphia actually. I lived before in Philadelphia. We just moved in on Hicksville. So when we buy
You
the
moved
store,
to Hicksville from where?
From
Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania.
Well, so you were living in Philadelphia, you got a store in Queens.
No, I live here. I just moved when I buy the store. We just moved to the Hicksville.
Oh,
So,
okay,
Yeah.
okay. And how far is this store from your house?
10-minute, I guess, drive, like 2-3 mile or 5 mile, 2-3 mile, I
About
guess.
10 minutes, 10 minutes.
10 minutes drive.
So
Why aren't you in this with her?
why didn't you just move
I'm
the
just
store?
looking something else, so. I'm
You're
doing
what?
something else. I'm just going on another business, maybe something else.
Like what?
Like any, like grocery store or something like that.
Liquor store?
No.
You're gonna do what?
I'm sorry?
What
I'm
other
just looking
business you-
something else, different, like the grocery store or something like that, so.
What is it?
Grocery store.
Grocery
store. Okay.
He's an investor and he looks for greatest return.
Well, that's my concern, and we're not in the
Sure.
business of giving people liquor licenses so that they can sell them.
Yeah.
He's not looking to sell this. She's looking to operate it.
Well, I don't know. If you look at how this is all set up, it's hard to believe.
The license been turned in, Tom?
Within the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
It was sold to someone else.
Members have any other questions?
I do not.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Like Mr. He said that there is the location that they're proposing is not a corner location. They are on Hempstead Turnpike. There is no intersection about New Bridge Road. Anybody coming north on New Bridge Road would have to make a left turn on Hempstead Turnpike.
I understand
Yeah,
everything
so
you're
it's-
saying. My problem with this is
Yeah.
I'm not seeing how this is not the status quo, particularly when it appears another one of the four closest is already closed as well.
Well, obviously, there hasn't been enough business there. That's one of the reasons that probably.
So you're basically asking us to close another store, which
Well,
we're really
this
not in
has
the
been
business
closed
of
for the
doing.
last 2 years, and obviously there has been a little bit of a pattern where customers have already found other location, and but now just creating another store that is not in a shopping plaza. It's just, again, you're creating another store next to a convenience store.
We're not
It's 10
creating
spots.
anything. The licensee put it in safekeeping,
Okay.
which they're entitled to do. The license is still there.
Mm-hmm.
They are simply moving it, and you've already lost another store on top of that. I get nobody wants competition. I understand that. But that is not something we deal with.
We wouldn't really object if they wanted to open up that same store, which was probably around 700-800 square feet. Did not really, wasn't.
This store is smaller in retail space.
I understand, but there's definitely more visible, and I'm not saying, I know, you're not.
And this goes back to what Commissioner
Yeah.
Pan says. That makes it more convenient.
Convenience, yeah, but it's not really convenience because it's only 2 stores. Right across it where she was talking about Walmart and other stuff, it's a huge complex. We may not have objected it because it was on the other side. The traffic pattern.
First of all, you're not being honest, because you would have objected, and you know it. And they all would have,
That's
and
my
they have
job.
complete right to, and I expect them to.
Yeah. So, I mean, the reason why we're standing here is basically literally walking distance to 2 stores. They
Where
invest.
Nobody walks. But
No, I
I understand your point. I think we're
Proximity.
ready- I
And my
think we're ready
client
to
bought
move.
the store for $450,000 in a shopping center that has about 20 other retail establishments. That is the public convenience, right? Because people are coming
Okay,
in.
I understand your point. Thank you.
All right. I do have I just wanted to show you, these are all the stores within approximately, 2 miles?
We'll take
Let me see that.
2 miles, okay?
I know.
You really should get these submissions in though by Friday at 2 p.m.
I think he just drew it.
It was, he drew.
It's a beautiful drawing.
Yes, it is.
Can I just say that since Commissioner Fan is looking at that document, please make sure that it ends up with Donald so that he includes it in the record.
Yeah, we will.
Don't worry, I'm not taking it home.
You don't want to frame it?
I don't. It's beautiful, but I don't need it.
All right, I think we're ready to vote.
All right,
Can we just
Commissioner.
make one more statement?
No, you're fine. I don't need any. Do you need another?
No.
statement?
Commissioner
do you?
Fan.
I just have a map that I would like to show now.
We'll take your map too, but you're not getting it back if you give it to us. All right, come on.
It just has like all these stores because he said there are only 2 stores in that plaza. So it has like.
I think he said 20.
No, in the proposal.
You need to go back to the microphone and speak.
Okay, we're gonna take that too. See that?
Oh.
Multiple stores.
Yeah, Donald had all these fun. Good luck with that. You can put that up on your wall.
No, it's gotta go in the file.
Take a picture of it with your camera, with your phone, Donald, and then shrink it.
All right, I think we're ready.
Commissioner Fan?
Yeah, this area is just so saturated, and you know we've had a lot of store-related crimes result from the Total Wine, and we really have been paying to deal with all of that. And please don't come here and start co-op buying or anything like that. You know, like I think that
So we just
perhaps
ask you to
one
rephrase
less.
that. Not crimes, violations.
Sorry,
Violations.
violations. So I think that one less store, it's actually probably healthy for the market at this point. So I'm going to vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm looking at the numbers from what was provided and mostly was what was not provided. And I'm just not sure that there is a need, but you're really just replacing a store that's closing. And you really are just moving a few blocks. So I'm going to vote to approve.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'm gonna vote to approve as well. I was gonna vote to deny, but I was not aware that another store in the area had closed already. It's gonna be obviously conditioned on the transfer being approved.
Well, that's the problem, is we can't approve the transfer.
Why?
Because they can't meet the conditions of approval.
Which is what?
They don't have a
which is
lease.
A lease.
You don't have a lease?
So you're gonna have to.
The prior store expired.
Right, you're gonna have to.
You don't have a conditional lease right now?
We do.
We do.
Then why is that on the transfer?
No, it's not the lease on the old
No.
location.
The old location was in default. We could not renew there.
Right, but no, the point is.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
point is-
No, I
Right.
understand what you're
So
saying.
you're gonna have to, you would have to tell us that we can go ahead.
Yes, I
And
see.
approve the transfer, even though they can't meet the conditions of the transfer.
Yes,
No.
we're going to do that, yes.
Thank you.
Which is why you're not gonna see any of these anymore.
Right. So the fact of the matter is you can't get a lease at the existing location. Therefore, you're going to need to show us a lease at the new location before this
Oh, no,
is approved.
that part we have. We don't have the conditions for the.
I know, but
right,
I'm
yeah.
saying you can waive that condition in this instance,
Okay.
Thank you.
assuming Commissioner Ford agrees.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Whatever makes it easier.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't believe we were doing these like.
Tom,
No, I said that you're not gonna get any of those anymore. From now on, they're gonna come to you as
New
single
applications.
applications, yes.
Good.
that's ridiculous because if it applied as a new store, they would never have gotten it.
I think they would have with two closing.
Next
They would have been replacing one.
is
The one that closed should be
866 Izzy's Barbecue Manhattan LLC.
866?
866.
I
No
generally give it
business there.
replacing.
I know. But I'm just.
But I can't believe we've been seeing these like this for years and we didn't know it.
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Corngut. I have with me the principal. This matter has been referred to the board by licensing due to a disciplinary history of another license previously held by the applicant's sole member, Israel Eidelman. The applicant has been operating in this location as a kosher barbecue restaurant since 2021. Applicant at this location.
Without alcohol? he's been
Without
open?
alcohol, yes.
What are your hours?
We are open from 12 to 10 p.m.
12 to
Sunday-
10 p.m.?
Yes, Sunday through Thursday. Thursday at 11 usually we stay open till.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Sorry, Sunday to Wednesday till 10 p.m. and Thursday till 11 p.m. And Friday and Saturday closed. There may be a potential that during daylight savings time next year on nights of shuttle, we may open up Saturday night after the Sabbath, but not sure.
So let me ask you this, we during COVID, you ended up getting a summary suspension. Was it at this location or a different
No,
restaurant?
that was a different restaurant. It's called IZZY'S Fried Chicken, which is closed down, and I wasn't an associate. My
Well,
partner.
don't say anymore. And that was for indoor dining?
That was for our
During
outdoor
COVID.
backyard space, was considered indoor dining.
And why did you, rather than offer a monetary fine, why did you want cancel and bond? You were closing the restaurant, or?
Yeah, the restaurant closed.
We were hemorrhaging as it is with COVID happening, then give us a fee of $20,000 when the restaurant's hemorrhaging, and we don't know what the future holds was.
Okay.
For this
All right.
dining issue.
Because normally you wouldn't have got canceled for that. It probably wouldn't have been 10, 20, it probably would have been 10, which is still a lot of money, I guess.
I'm going to vote to approve 11 p.m. across the board, recorded music only. I'm going to allow the bathroom waiver and manager as needed.
Commissioner Ford?
All that good with you?
Yes,
Are you okay with 11
Yeah.
p.m. closing?
All right.
I would say 12, but open to 11. I don't see anything changing as of now, so I guess I'll.
I don't care. You can have midnight.
12.
Have midnight?
Yeah. So let's do midnight then, just.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, midnight.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm sorry you have to be here all day as
All
well.
It's okay. It's my job.
Chairman, you approved, right?
Yes, same conditions.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank
too.
you. You too.
Next is 862 Leo Grandpa Corp. I need to learn how to read.
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Korngut. I have with me here today Gavin Compton and Mike Fadum, who are two of the three principals of Leo Grandpa Corp. This is a disciplinary matter. These
Yeah,
charges.
the ALJ dismissed the charges.
That's correct.
We're going to dismiss the
Unless you
charges.
want to argue that you should sustain them.
No.
All right. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. You didn't need to come, but thanks for coming.
856 versus Bar and Lounge LLC.
8:56.
Terrence Flynn on behalf of the applicant.
So I've never heard this before. Sufficient character?
Well, when you say
That's what he says about you. Sufficient character.
only because the term used is insufficient character, so I don't know. Obviously, you read the submission then. The client made a mistake. There is no question about that. And he has paid for that mistake and not being denied the first license and then going all this time without a license as well. Whether you view this as he intentionally made the mistake or he made the mistake because of what the representative had told him, I think by this point is irrelevant. He has paid the dues. He is qualified to be a licensee. We would ask that you give him an opportunity to show that he will be a good applicant and a good licensee and operate this premise going forward. If you have any questions.
You're open now, right?
No, I've been closed for almost a year.
You've been closed.
Yeah.
Where's your other license?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Vintage Bar and Lounge, Wanta, New York.
And you manage that as well?
Yeah, correct.
And you're going to manage this?
Yeah.
How far away is it?
It's about, I would say, 15 miles.
So where did you get the alcohol from? It was
From the
your other
previous, from the
spot?
airport.
You just took it from your
Yeah,
other?
it was there, no, it was there already from the other establishment.
from the prior.
Yeah, it was just there.
You have security guards?
Yes.
You plan to have security guards?
Yes, yes.
How many?
It would be two, because I have the front door and the back door, especially in
Every
the
night?
summer. Yeah, especially in the summer with college kids.
You have live music DJ?
Yes, I mean, once a month.
Once a
Mostly
month?
house music and the jukebox.
Not gonna hold you to that. This location was a bar before this, right?
Correct. I think 25 years.
25 years.
It was vacant for a year.
Do we have bad history on the location, Tom?
None since 2006.
Not since 2006, okay. All right, I'm going to vote to approve with the following conditions. Principal to manage?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Principal to manage, or you plan to hire?
Oh, yes.
them?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Principal to manage, live music, DJ, no promoter, just 2 security guards every night. 4 a.m.
What about the karaoke? They had karaoke.
He can have karaoke.
Oh, thank you. Town loves karaoke.
I consider that live music, even though I know that that's a dispute about that.
Commissioner Ford?
I don't. Now you're insulting.
I know.
You guys are welcome to comment.
The person singing is doing the live music, whether it's good or not, just because it's not a professional
Japanese for
person.
soulless machine or
Probably
something
think
like that.
Super Bowl shows are live music too, right? And we can go on and on with this. I'll approve as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll approve. I wasn't gonna.
Uh,
Lost anyway.
Thank you so much. My birthday is May 29th, so
Chairman,
you guys just made my
it's
best birthday.
Gary.
Thank you, guys.
It's
God bless.
Gary.
Thank you.
Before they leave, I want to say something.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention to the licensee and the representative that this is a person who got fined $40,000 at one of his other locations for a variety of illegal conduct, and less than 6 months later was selling without a license and telling the police officer when he was caught that the license was essentially in the mail. That suggests to me somebody who didn't even get the message from a $40,000 fine that he has to comply with all the laws that are out there. And I just hope that he recognizes that he's going to be under scrutiny based on that record going forward, even though it didn't stop the board from granting this license now. Just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 912B, 161 OPCO MTK LLC.
First, I'd like to thank you for putting this matter on the board.
You guys aren't here?
No, they weren't. They're not here. I didn't realize you want them here.
Well, I mean, this place.
It's not about whether we want them here, it's how badly they want this, because they
Well-
obviously really want this business somehow to run. I mean, they have
They do-
skipped out on a $15,000 fine
Wait.
to get to a revocation. That's not, I don't know, I don't see them trying to preserve their property as well.
I mean, here, my problem is that the place is obviously a menace, for lack of a better word. There were a lot of other violations as well, not to mention those people that were involved in those violations are now the landlord.
Right.
Who are certainly going to profit off of whatever happens now.
So let me, if I can address the concerns. The first thing I want to address is in the memorandum, we've met with the town and we've gone through several things with the town. The town is not in opposition to this application at all. We have a stipulation that the town is in the midst of signing. In that, the occupancy will go down to 168 from 175. There will be no dancing. This will strictly be a restaurant. And there will only be 50 people permitted in the outside area, not 75. And that's in the stipulation that we've gone through with the town and the town representatives. Also, the town representatives, we've agreed to in cleaning up the old violations, that they are going to come throughout the summer and do 5 unannounced inspections to make sure there is compliance. There was no question what happened last year was absolutely wrong. There was one individual who was involved in this, who put together the deal. These other investors came in with their money. They were told that all the licensing filings had been done and everything was done properly. And only after this whole thing exploded did they find out that that was not the case. I personally tried to work with both of the other licensees, the licensees whose licenses were there. In one case, the previous attorney thought that they bought the shares of stock when they didn't. It was an asset.
Do you know why they let the $15,000 go to
They
revoke?
They didn't. What was supposed to happen was we were assured that that was going to be paid by the existing licensee. In fact, they just paid $125,000 fine because the one principal in question had a liquor store, and the authority went after the liquor store because of his behavior at this location. And we just paid the $125,000 fine in that matter. So they've done everything to pay whatever it is and correct whatever it is. All violations that were there at this location have all been remedied. The police department was contacted, and even
See
the,
that, and yeah, they're remedied, but the problem is the guy that was the cause of it is still a landlord or part of the group of landlords,
Right.
which is a problem because he's now profiting off of the garbage that he created
Well-
last year.
well, here's the situation.
And he's probably still out there.
Well, here's the deal. We have multiple owners of this place that relied on his representations. They've removed him from everything they could possibly remove him from. They can't force him out of the real estate company at this point. But he used to be a managing member. He is no longer a managing member. He's been removed from anything to do with operations of the operating company. They brought in a professional management company. We've provided the information within the application.
No, that actually, you didn't. Based on what I read, it says that the application says that the principals are going to manage, but then the personal questionnaires of the principals say, no, they're not managing.
No, the principals aren't going to manage actively day to day. They will be involved in checking everything that goes on at the premise, but we gave the personal questionnaire for the management and the management agreement within the application. The manager is a
That may
longstanding,
well be true because I was just putting this before you solely on the issue of the temporary permit.
Right.
Because I wasn't going to grant it.
No, you shouldn't. All right, I'm going to suggest to the other members that I'll grant this, but there's no DJ. This is just a tent. There's no DJ, there's no dancing.
Right.
You have seats for 132 people, that's the max occupancy. What did the town say, 160?
no, 168 with the seating that's inside, and as well,
Your application says 24 seats at the bar and 108 in table seating.
right.
So that's 132, the way
Right, no, but what I'm saying is it's 168, and then of that amount, 50 people can be outside as well.
Well, I'll let the 50 outside. The
Okay.
inside has 132.
Okay,
They're gonna close while they have the temp. They're gonna close at 1 all
Okay.
nights,
okay,
and they're gonna have 7 security guards all night, all nights. So recorded music only. They're gonna be a restaurant. That's what they're gonna be.
they're absolutely going to be a restaurant.
Well, a DJ's not in the Hamptons, not a restaurant.
No, they're not. We know this already.
So they're background music only is what they're allowed.
They understand.
Problems for the Montauk.
That's
what we're doing.
Well, if we just make it recorded music, I'm hoping that the
Yeah, no,
If something happens.
Right,
And the licensing bureau gets.
This is only the temp, right?
Right, so if the licensing bureau gets complaints, we'll pull the temporary.
Right. They're
And the
not
summer
going
will be over.
Right, everything will be over for them, their entire investment. These people put in a lot of money to buy
Same
it.
group did that last year.
No, right, but it's the only,
Why are they keeping?
no, but just, it's
Why are
not,
they keeping the same name?
Because that's how they
what
get
they
the
want.
customers.
the reason that
That's
they
what they
thought.
wanted. It was complete mayhem last year for 25 to 22-year-olds, and that's what they want to do again.
I can assure you that these people that are running it now do not want to do it. They will lose their entire investment if they
Well,
do.
they're going to have to show us.
Right.
That's what I'm proposing, assuming you
Right.
guys are all right with it. For the 10th.
And if they're given the chance, they will do that. They will show you that they're going to do it. They do not want
I was going to vote no,
anything.
but I'll go with Chairman.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll go with the flow as well, yes.
And we'll be sending the license application to you as well.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
And there's no guarantee that stuff comes off in the license application either.
I firmly understand that, Mr. Chairman. On their behalf, I want to thank you for giving them the opportunity.
It
Thank
is
you.
Memorial Day. Well, this will be their first test.
Thank you very much. And have a very nice holiday, by the way.
Thank you.
Next is 869, KAYLEX, Inc.
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Korngut. I'm here on behalf of the licensee, KAYLEX Inc. This is in relation to a CNC of 1500. The licensee closed during COVID and was not aware that it was required to deposit its license into safekeeping. They have since deposited into safekeeping on March 22nd, 2022. They're no longer in business. They're
Why
closed
don't they just surrender it?
because there's a disciplinary matter outstanding. Once this is resolved, they're going to
Well, no,
surrender
we
it.
would have canceled it anyway if you
Yeah,
surrendered
they-
the license, but, all right.
They don't want a cancellation on their record.
I'll accept 2.
Commissioner Ford?
So this resolves the case if we just take the 1,500.
Correct.
Rather than a cancellation.
I'll accept 1,500.
Thank you.
And next is 912. It's a request for declaratory ruling, tied house and retail.
I'm going to pull this one over as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Good afternoon, members. Ben Savitsky of Bernstein, Rado and Savitsky. This is a request for a declaratory ruling pursuant to Rule 98.1. The issue before the members is whether an on-premises retail licensee may employ a person who's on a manufacturing license. I submitted a letter which kind of explores the facts and the law. I'd be happy to summarize it quickly if it would benefit the members or the public.
Again, this is relating to something that's much more significant than what's here in front of us, so
We're going to put this
we're
over.
going to put this over.
To June 8th, right? If you still want to make your case since you're here, go ahead.
Or you can come back. You're probably going to be sent back anyway.
I'm going to be sent back anyway. Do I know the reason why?
She wants to clarify how the tied house law is going to be affected. Wants to better clarify how the tied house law is going to be affected.
Absolutely, understand.
It's not just you.
No, I understand.
So, we got to be sure about this.
Thank you.
All right?
Thanks.
And Jonathan, there's no one else there, correct? Right.
All right.
What was that 12A, right? No, what was that, 12B?
That was 1912. That was 912.
912 and 912.
912 and 912A. All right, so 837. It's an offer of 8,000.
Accept.
Accept.
I'm actually not happy with this.
I'm not either, actually. You're right.
I mean-
The letter denies all the charges.
Absolutely. That's what I think. I'm like, the lawyer's saying that these charges are not accurate. They're saying there were no prescription drugs and no drinking and no gambling.
Well, how can, he says all the machines have been removed from the store, then he says there's no gambling and never has been.
They were for
fun.
Yeah, optics.
Oh, all right, okay. Let's go with that.
I'm gonna counter at 15,000.
Y'all still accepting it, or
Counter at 15.
Commissioner Ford?
Counter 15.
838 and 839. It's a no contest default at hearing.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
840 is an offer of 2,000.
I'll accept 2,000.
Accept.
I was gonna do 1,000, but.
Oh yeah, I had 1,000 too, actually.
1,000.
841 is an offer of 250.
250.
250 accept.
250 accept.
842 is an offer of 2,000.
2,000.
2,000.
I was at 1,500.
843 and 844 is an offer of 2,000.
2,000.
Report.
I was making a note. Which one was that again?
2,000.
843 and
Yeah,
44.
accept.
845 is an offer of 2,000.
2,000.
2,000.
Accept.
846 is an offer of 1,500.
This is 1987. I was gonna go to 1,000.
I was gonna go to 750, 35 years unblemished.
That's fine. 750.
750.
847 and 48 is an offer of 2,000.
2,000.
Accept.
Accept.
849, it's a no contest default pleading.
What does that mean? They need. This is second time in 2 months. This is kind of problematic.
A 17-year-old too.
Yeah.
6,500. Is that it?
I'm gonna
I'm gonna say 6,500 and require scanner.
I don't think we can.
We can,
So
because
it's CNC, isn't
I
it?
know. No, it's a default.
Oh, all right, you can. Okay, go ahead. 6,500 and scanner.
The BP, and they're gonna tell us why it doesn't work with the larger system.
Okay.
850 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
Accept.
851, it's a no contest default. Pleading.
I'm at 3,000.
I'm at cancel and bond. For 851?
Yeah. I was at 5.
Okay.
I'll do 5.
5.
5.
852 is an offer of 5,000.
I'm gonna dismiss charge number 2. And, go to 3,000.
You're at 853?
852.
852, okay.
And what are you dismissing 2 for?
Because it says that their failure to permit inspection, but then the fact says that they then cooperated and allowed the camera.
It later.
Because it was about a police investigation.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
I
thinking
thought
maybe that was a
canceled. Okay.
misunderstanding.
Is that okay with everyone? Dismiss
Yes.
2
All
and
right, so wait a
3,000.
minute. Failure, and then what did you say? Accept 5,000?
I was at 3,000, but.
I was at 4,000, but I'll go with 3,000.
Chairman?
I'll go at 3,000 too.
Second BP, wasn't it? A default. 853 is a request for
This
reconsideration.
is okay to recon. This is our own internal issue, so I'm going to accept 15.
1,500 accept.
I accept as well.
$858, it's a not guilty.
So Gary.
Yeah.
This, I gather from the hearing opinion that it's actually 2 different occasions. And so I'm at 10,000. Is that accurate?
Well, we only have
Or
one
do you-
charge. Let me, give me a moment.
Okay.
Take really long with this. Okay.
Squeeze it.
All right, we'll come back to this. Go ahead, Donald.
859, it's another not guilty.
Sustain all 3 charges.
Yep. Sustain all 3. I'm at 2,000.
2,000.
2,000.
860, it's not guilty, went to hearing.
Sustain all charges.
Yep. 1,000.
2,000.
Commissioner Ford.
2,000.
861, not guilty, went to hearing.
This is dismiss.
Commissioner Ford.
Dismiss all charges.
Dismiss.
863, it's an offer of 3,000.
3,000.
3,000 accept. Right after being suspended.
Chairman?
Accept.
So 864, I got an email from the attorney requesting an adjournment to June 8th to gather more evidence about the
Sure.
200-foot issue.
June 8th it is.
Commissioner Ford.
Yes, go ahead.
865 is an offer of 1,000.
Accept.
Accept.
Wait, hold on a second. Supervisor versus manager. This is another one where they claim that the employee brought in the liquor. I just always find that so hard to believe.
Well, they're making the claim, are we on 865?
Hold on a sec. Yes, 865.
Yeah, they're making the claim that they usually make mixed drinks with a non-alcoholic mixer, and they brought in the wrong mixer this time. That's their argument.
And do you believe that?
I don't know that we can or can't, but they've offered a conditional no contest, which means they're not disputing the charges. They're just saying that this was a one-time thing. There's no way to judge the truth or falsity of it.
Okay.
But even saying that, the failure to conform to the application and this charge, would ordinarily, I think, consistent with the board's prior disciplinary findings, warrant a higher fine.
All right, I am, look, I'll accept 1,000, but I want to remind the licensee that they're not allowed to have live music. Regardless of what happened in this matter, they're not allowed to have live music.
867 is a no contest default at pleading.
I'm at 10,000.
10,000. For 867?
Yes.
10,000.
871 is an offer of 5,500.
5,500. But this is really bad start for a new license, so they need to watch out.
Accept.
Accept.
872 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
1,500 accept.
1,500 accept.
873 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
Accept.
Accept.
874 and 75 is an offer of 4,000.
4,000.
4,000.
4,000 accept.
876 is an offer of 2,500.
2,500.
2,500.
Accept.
877 is a no contest default at hearing.
So it's already revoked, right?
So
Yeah,
revoke.
I'm just a cancel and
So
bond.
cancel and bond.
Yeah, that's where I am too. Cancel and bond.
878 is a not guilty, went to hearing.
Sustain all the charges.
This is like 5 days after they open. 2,000.
2,000.
78.
878.
Yeah, 2,000.
879 is a no contest default at pleading.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Been closed since December, so.
881 not guilty, went to hearing.
3,000.
What happened to 880?
We already did that. They were
Okay,
here.
I didn't pull it. Yeah. Go ahead.
So 881 is
Sustain 3,000.
3,000.
All right. 882 is a no contest.
I don't know. I'm at letter of warning. I'm not
They're all square now, right?
too
All right, letter of warning.
Commissioner Ford.
Letter of warning.
883 and 84 is an offer of 4,500.
4,500.
4,500.
Accept.
So 885. So originally got an email asking adjourn. She was going to, cause Tavares was going to be out of state. Apparently clients showed up today, didn't know the name of this, like didn't know the correct name to get our staff.
All right, so put it over
Yeah.
6-8.
The client didn't know the name of his own business.
Well,
No,
he
it
have
was
the
a
name of his own
priest.
business.
It was a priest.
Yeah, I don't know. There was some confusion about
Not a
what
priest.
item.
It's a 200-foot issue.
What
She's
item it
bringing in a
was.
reverend.
Oh, and the Reverend came and Tavares didn't come?
Tavares
Okay.
came later after they left.
Oh, gosh. But so she's not out of state?
Well, because I didn't give her the adjournment right away. So
All right, 6-8. We got to get going.
866 and 67 is a offer of 3,500.
3,500.
3,500.
Commissioner Ford.
Accept.
888 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
1,500 accept.
889 is an offer of 2,500.
I'm gonna go to 2,000.
2,000.
Commissioner Ford?
889.
Yes.
Is this Perprico? Do I have the right number?
No, 889 is Techeria Gramercy LLC.
You're looking at 890.
890. Where's 889? Oh, this must be right here. I numbered it wrong. Yes, I'm sorry. 2,500 accept.
Or, okay. They lowered to 2,000, but.
Oh, then 2,000, yes.
890 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
1,500 accept.
891 is an offer of 5,000, and we'll put the liquor license.
I'll
in safety.
accept.
Well,
Accept.
well, I think Gary wanted to
Oh.
say on this one.
Oh.
Yeah, the problem is there's no, we can't keep track of this. They're gonna keep it in safekeeping. We don't have it yet.
I got it. I'm gonna stop you. This is gonna
Over.
be adjourned. They have to put it in safekeeping first before we accept the deal. So 6-8.
6-8.
I was gonna suggest they also file their grocery store application.
Whatever. That's fine too. Do that too.
Over
But I see what he's
668.
saying. Put it in safekeeping first, and then we'll take your deal.
Okay.
We're putting this on 8.
6-8, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
892 is an offer of 1,500. That's okay with you.
Yeah, 1,500. Yeah, that's fine.
1,500.
Commissioner Ford, you say yep.
Yes.
893 is an offer of 12,500.
Accept.
Accept.
894 is an offer of 5,000. And
Accept.
council's office wishes.
Withdrawal number 2.
Accept, withdraw 2.
And accept 5,000.
1,000 accept.
Yeah, you know, this Fireball whiskey, it's concerning.
I had people call me about it.
Yeah, I saw it at CVS and I was like, what's going
895
on?
is an offer of 15,000.
15,000.
I thought accept. I thought it might be a little bit low, but I'll accept.
896 is an offer of $10,000, and they surrendered the license.
I'll accept.
Accept.
Same issue. 897 and 898 is an offer of 5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
Accept, but not a good record is being established at this location.
899 is an offer of 2,000.
I'll accept.
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 900 is an offer of 750.
Accept.
Accept.
Commissioner
I
Ford,
was at 1,000, but all right.
yes, you want to be 1,000 or do you want to accept?
I'm going to stay at 1,000.
Okay. And next is 901. It's the proposed advisory for the use of common seating.
So we have to post this right now?
There have been
Yes.
some revisions made.
So I'll do this. This is on me. I told everybody that I would post this after the revisions were made. We did make minor revisions. I then failed to get it posted, so it will be posted shortly, and we will deal with it next hearing.
6-8.
There are not going to be any written comments additional allowed. If you want to come in and speak about it, you are welcome to do that.
I will get to.
Thank
Okay.
you. 902, 03, and 04. This was a no contest.
I'm surprised they didn't show up.
Submitted the letter of mitigation.
They put in the letter of mitigation, which is the only reason this was held over from the last meeting.
They're gonna close at 2 a.m. I wish they had come in.
Well, you can bring him in if you want.
I think they should come
All
in.
right, bring him in, 6-8.
I'm gonna be happy. 905 and 906 is an offer of 4,000.
Accept.
Commissioner Ford.
Accept.
907 is an offer of 1,500.
Accept.
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 And 908 is a new package store application.
What?
They have a burden and they haven't met the burden in my view of public convenience and advantage. I'm denying.
Vote to deny.
Wait, did you do 858?
Yes, 858. Gary?
Yeah, you're right. I missed it. It's 2 sales.
Okay, so I'm at 10,000.
10,000.
Which one is that for?
Yep, bye.
858?
Yeah.
I'm all set though.
Okay.
What was it again? How much did you say?
10,000.
10,000.
10,000, all right.
Elvis says, look at this.
All right. Well, the chairman has nothing further. I have nothing further. This has been adjourned.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.